Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 120 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I am joined by, he didn't leave 343. He's here to stay, Lord Cognito.
Yeah,
how are you?
Still part of the team. Still part of the team. I'm making things happen around here.
Mass departures is happening, but you're holding it down.
Holding it down, man. Holding down the fort right now. What's up, Eddie? How we doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I sneezed right before we hopped into a call here together. So I've realized, like, as I've got older, when I sneeze, the damage is done longer term. And I don't know if I'm weird, if I got really bad sinuses. Someone could write in about this. But when I sneeze, man, it just feels like there's a weight in my head for a little bit of time. Then I gradually get back to normal.
That's a powerful sneeze, bro.
Yeah. I wonder if I rattle my brain when I sneeze a little bit. I think that might be doing a little damage over time here. But otherwise, well, a lot of reviews in the pipe right now. And so just been busy. I've been on a new sleep schedule, too. Been getting to bed earlier. Cog, I got to say, I might be slowly converting to the daywalker status. What? And hilariously enough, I might actually prefer it in some ways, which is the crazy part, because normally, like, when I'm reviewing games, like, this has been a great time to switch my sleep schedule, because normally I'm like, oh, I gotta stay up late, I gotta beat this game, I gotta go in, I sleep in a little bit, and it's all I do until the game's done, right? But now I've had some time to read, watch the Rangers playoffs, 5-1, watch out, New Jersey, watch out. We got the Rangers breaking out the broomstick, maybe. I don't know. I shouldn't talk because this episode is going to go live on Sunday, everyone. So, like, it could be a 2-1 series by then.
The greatest comeback in the history of
but that first game was looking hella nice. Anyway, I've had time for a lot of stuff. Been focusing on refocusing, if you will, this year. And it's been a longer process than I thought it'd be. But I'm just trying to get those healthy habits in check, man. And trying to, really make it like my year, the year I turn stuff around, really figure out how to live a little bit healthier beyond just eating and exercising, like good habits, that type of stuff. And so that's a segue from my sneeze to this, but otherwise doing well, man.
No, I respect it. I mean, it's funny you say that, because I'm definitely a night owl by nature, but when I'm forced to be a day walker, which, obviously my schedule, my job and stuff like that, you do realize sometimes, like, I can be more productive. Like when you get everything out the way and then you kind of have more of the day to yourself. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just, it's tough for me, man. Cause sometimes I'm a rebel by nature. I'm like, man, I done did all this stuff for everybody else and I didn't do anything for me. And then thus my staying up late kind of goes into that pocket, because sometimes I'm like, yo, I need this right now. But I'm
trying to just let go of that part of myself. There have been some days where I, today will be a real test, because Defining Duke will push us to like 10 p.m. I'll get home and that's it. It's close to bedtime now. I'm just like, man, I kind of want to have a little, away from work time instead of waking up and working again.
Exactly. It feels like punishment. You're like, man. I feel you, bro. It's a struggle. But if you could discipline yourself like how you doing, that's dope, because you do get better rest. I will say.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. Because you know how I know I'm getting better rest? I'm starting to have dreams again. I haven't dreamed in years, probably.
Oh, you're getting that REM sleep now.
Yeah, now I'm starting to have dreams, crazy fucking dreams, but dreams, man. And it's nice. I'm starting to feel a little normal again. So it's fine. It's fine. But welcome everybody to Defining Duke. This is a gaming podcast, in case you didn't know. And so, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We got to connect with the audience, man. That's what I really want to get into. I'm going to leapfrog the mobile reviews for a sec, because we got to get to Kenneth Ohms, who had a great write-in here. Like, Kenneth, we're going out of the way here. No promo right now for the Patreon. None of that. We want to talk to you, Kenneth, right? Because he writes, hello, boys. I wanted to write in and see if I could get a Defining Duke salute, as I'm getting married this Sunday. I'm going to be a nervous wreck the entire day, but I'll be saving the episode to listen to the day of. so that I can get a big confidence boost from the Duke boys. Thanks for making me interested in the Xbox ecosystem again. Kenneth, you got this, man. Bro, just think of the end result, man. Your life is beginning again. How exciting is that? And who knows what's happening on Wednesday night, bro?
Yeah, listen, you getting your player 2 officially. You know what I mean? Get all your co-op games beat now. Mm-hmm. You lit, like you're about to do that thing that everybody wants, man. So like go in there, make sure you have fun. And I know the celebration gonna be lit. I know the celebration, but bro, congratulations. That's super dope on your wedding day. You know what I mean? Like go do
Absolutely.
That. Go do that.
The Dukes are going to rally Kenneth to a big W on this day. So best of luck. No need to be nervous, man. Your partner is right there across the aisle from you. Mm-hmm. Just don't fuck up that speech, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't cry like a little baby, Kenneth. Just know I'm here in your ear right now. I'm telling you right now, don't cry. Don't cry. You got this.
Speak from your heart. Speak from your heart.
Just rip it up right in front of her and just say, I'm talking from the heart. Just make a big show out of it. Just impress everyone there in the congregation. It'll go well. Trust me. Respect. I've done this before.
Respect. Speak of a man of experience.
One of these days. Probably next year. So we'll see. But best of luck, Kenneth, in all seriousness. I tried my best not to make a sex joke just in case, you got a bunch of people in the room with you. I was like, maybe your mom's there or something. Yeah. I was walking my way there and I just did a hand motion. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, mom was probably in the room. Dad's in the room. Kenneth, we don't want you having your life choices judged right now. So just, man, let them know. Defining Duke, family-friendly podcast. Welcome all. Kenneth, again, best of luck, man. Congratulations to all seriousness. Much love to you. And thank you for letting us be a part of your day. We appreciate it.
No doubt. Much appreciated.
Now it's time to distract Kenneth from the nerves here. So, as always, early access to the show goes live on Thursdays over at patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hits free feeds like Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, YouTube on Sunday, the day of Kenneth, we'll call it.
The day of Kenneth.
But of course, if you want to be a freeloader, we got a way for you to work around, get involved in the show. If you can't write in on Patreon or whatever, I think Patreon had a bug. I almost freaked out, but it said we had 80 write-ins. I only could load up to 60, but that is one of our highest, and nothing has really happened of note this week. So just thank you all for supporting the Dukes across the board. Patreon, we got some mobile reviews here. Let's get into a couple of them, Cog. We got one from Australia from Kadire Turns. As always, I haven't vetted any of these, so if you say something stupid, it's on you, not me. All right. We got from Kadire Turns. I don't even have an Xbox, but these guys always keep me in touch with Xbox, but also in general gaming news too. They're good dudes with great insights and positive vibes, which is rare in game podcasts, which are focused on a specific game platform. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Kadire. We appreciate you.
Love
the land down under.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From the under. Yeah, I love when people say that they don't have an Xbox, but they still like the podcast. Mm-hmm. That actually excites me.
It's becoming more consistent. The reach of the Dukes is growing. We say Dukes for a reason, right? We got big hands, big Dukes, right?
Bang.
I'm going to grab you. I'm going to grab you from Canada, like we did with X3 Rem 96. Cog and Maddie have a great chemistry and dynamic that keeps me coming back to the podcast. I never miss an episode, and it's ingrained into my routine to catch the show. I love the healthy debate on topics and enjoy that they don't agree on everything all the time. Keep with the great work, guys. God, you know that?
Someone's listening. Someone's listening.
We disagree?
We do disagree. It's funny.
That's news to me, man. It's news to me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got two more here. Moskamo writes, this is the Xbox Scratch That best gaming podcast out. I think these are two incomplete sentences, but you know what, Moskamo? We love you for doing this anyway.
We like that.
Informative, well thought out takes. These gentlemen have done their homework and know how to entertain. Weeb free, high testosterone, and no half stepping. Give it a listen if you are hard up for some of that good.
A lot of testosterone, a lot of hard talk. Okay, but I'm going to let it rock. I'm going to let it
manly man.
Very manly, very strong Duke. Energy, respect.
Actually, I'm sorry. That was the last one because I just saw. See, this is why the creative finales to all of your write-ins are great because I recognize them. Like Gaz the Man was our last one from last week, and he wrote, as Tina Turner would say, simply the best. And I was like, oh, we did that last week. So 3 this week. We appreciate y'all elevating the Dukes, Defining Duke at Xbox podcast. I'm looking right now, and we're way away from where our episode last uploaded. And we're number 38 in Great Britain, which is pretty cool for video games.
Okay, big up.
And then number 56 in the United States for video games. So we're trying to get
we in the top 50.
Yeah. No, okay. We were We were below that. We were 46 when our episode uploaded, it looks like.
Okay.
And then for a leisure podcast, we're 225, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good for the leisure.
Pretty good. 138 in Great Britain. You can see all these stats over on chartable.com. We encourage you to continue reviewing our show. We are seeing an impact from it. We appreciate you all being behind us and lifting up the Dukes. So now we got a question for you, Cog. Really important one here from Rob Persglove here. Question for Cog. Cog, did you know Maddie is making a video game? Maddie is making a video game and Colin has stock in Microsoft.
Yo, why those are the qualifiers? Yo, they stupid. That was good, Rob. That was good. Listen, newsflash. I think I do know that Maddie's making a video game. I think I heard, through the grapevine that it's going down, wealth of experience. And we're going to chart his journey. So if he happens to bring it up 400 times, it's great.
Yeah. Just one more.
Just one more. That don't hurt.
All right, we got Michael Buffle writing in. I thought this one was interesting, and then we'll actually get fully into gaming stuff here. Hey, Dukes, being that you're both native New Yorkers, I wonder if you ever experienced something like I did. I'm in the house just hanging out, and my son tells me there is a dead rat in the toilet. My first thought is he's trying to be funny, and I just had used the bathroom a few minutes prior, so I'm like, okay, what are you getting at? He keeps insisting, so I get up, and sure enough, a huge dead rat is floating in the toilet bowl.
Yo.
I was so disgusted and also so curious as to how this could happen. So I Googled rats in New York City toilets and found more information that I thought was possible. Most people's stories were of live rats swimming up the pipes and into their bowl, splashing around. I wasn't sure if it was just this... I wasn't sure if I could just flush this floating rat down the toilet, but an exterminator on the bulletin said it was okay and that people would call him in such an event and he would make $100 just to flush it down. Wondering if you boys have had any experience like this only in New York City type of wretched stories.
Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro, imagine let's just paint the honest picture here. You're doing your number two, that's and all you hear is you stand up, look between the legs, and you just see a rat. That will send you into a state of nightmares for weeks on end, bro. No. That would scare the life out of me.
Yeah, same with me. It's such a violation of privacy. And rat, I just don't like rats. Like me.
Acting like the rat's doing it personally, man. Yeah, he chose your toilet line.
You chose my situation. And then it's like the most embarrassing thing from a New York standpoint is, listen, you try to be a cleanly person, you try to take out trash, you try to keep things in a situation where it doesn't harbor anything.
Mm-hmm.
The most disrespectful thing I think mice rats do is there's been times when you have company. Chilling, living room, whatever, good time. And the mouse or the rat decides to come to and just pass it for, hey, what's up, y'all? What's going on? And then run past. That is a violation.
Yeah.
that to me is like, again, with New York City, it's just bad, man. It's just bad. And with exterminate, you got to stay up on your exterminators. You got to stay up on everything. They are very creative creatures. I just don't like to me, it'll really ruin whatever I'm doing. I have to get to the source. Like I start to get proficient with the killing. We got, okay, what the baits, what's the trap, what's the things that work, and then you get them out of there. But yeah, luckily I haven't had any problems for like a couple years now. But I remember I had a serious problem at one point and I just didn't know what the source was. And it's a violation, bro. It is so, and see, you know what it is for me? The thing that drives me nuts is the...
Oh, yeah.
When you hear the
pit,
especially if you sleep in it, it's just...
when you're laying on your back and you hear it above you.
Oh, it is like they are in, something is in
Someone
there.
Broken into your house.
Yeah, it's like you being violent, you being robbed, and then you just see half eating something or like something gnaw that, and you like, oh, we got to stop this. So that's what it is from, a mouse. It's such a, and I hate to say it, I just think they're just disgusting creatures. I don't like anything about them. Like,
they're nasty.
They're nasty, bro.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because New York City's kind of gone down in quality over the years. I feel like it's not as nice as it used to be, as far as I'm concerned. But that's a whole other topic. But point being is, Michael, we appreciate you writing in. Rest in peace that rat who I guess drowned, floated up your toilet line, and then got sent back down to God knows where to rot. That's fucking terrible. But hey, man, I guess that's life, right? Don't break into my house and you won't pay that consequence.
Fact, true. That's right.
All right, let's get started with the gaming news, shall we, sir? Microsoft. I thought this was interesting to kick things off. They're experimenting with adding Windows to the Steam Deck. This was according to a leaked video from September of last year's hackathon within the Microsoft show floor, where there was actually a prototype of this running on the Steam Deck. For those who don't know, hackathons are where like employees of Microsoft present ideas to executives that could end up being supported or shipped. And this was first spotted by The Verge. So I thought this was kind of interesting, Cog, and I'm wondering for you, because the Steam Deck is so impressive because of its customization that this could be something that a lot of folks are going to look into. Is there anything that you immediately thought of when you saw this news?
Yeah. Like, hurry, let's go. Be my thing is like, hurry up, because for me, the only main the detractor from the Steam Deck at this point is the fact that yes, you can put Windows on it, but it's like it doesn't have Windows 11 natively, and then there's certain things that you just can't do because it's tied to the Steam OS and Linux, and it would behoove them because for me, I go lie to you, Manny. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this Asus ROG, what is it, ROG Ally?
Yeah.
Windows 11 look like you could put native gamepad, bruh. My eyes are starting to wander.
Oh,
listen, you talk. That's the handheld ideal situation I want. Like, let's be real. Streaming is streaming. In respect to the Logitech G Cloud, my boy Kaibatsu really swears by your G Cloud.
It's so good. It's so good. I try not to talk about it too much because I really like it. I talk about it all the time, but I understand like I did a sponsor video for it. So I don't want to come across disingenuous, but like I really think that thing is fucking awesome. Like it is so good. Sorry, go on.
No, Kai agrees with you. He said, Cog, I got it. Tell Maddie, I'm like, yeah, Maddie raves about it. And again, that's all well and good. But again, for a guy like Cog, who's going to be on a train, going to be on the plane, there's no streaming option, right? So it's just, for me, I still want something that's going to have that local ability. And that's what the ROGs look like it's doing. So Steam Deck, it would behoove you and Microsoft to get this figured out because that's where I want to be. And I can't even play Destiny. The games I like, I can't play by the rock over there, like, because it's not Steam Deck verified.
You gotta get support now. Come on,
bro. And that's the thing, the verification thing. So this is exciting. I hope they take something from these hackathons.
I agree, because I'm working on a 1 year later kind of review for my Steam Deck, because we've done these quarterly reviews for it, and the thing that disappoints me the most is it really has nothing to do with Valve. It's more to do with Xbox. Is the fact that we still don't have native Game Pass support for it. Like, if you told me when I first got my system in April last year, hey, 1 year from now we'll have native Game Pass support, I would believe you. That makes sense. Not immediate, but sometime in that window. The fact that we don't, and it's still this back end Microsoft Edge setup with an app and doing programming stuff. Oh, dude, they got to get on that. It's definitely one of the more disappointing aspects of the system, because that's what makes the Logitech so much more appealing to me. Is what you can tell when something's built with Xbox cloud gaming in mind versus when it's just kind of the back end looped in. It's a difference in quality, streaming, pixelation of the visuals, like so on and so forth. It's a way better experience. That's why I want people to get that native support on Steam Deck, because you'll know what I'm talking about. Because I did my Like a Dragon playthrough mostly in the cloud, and it was heavily pixelated. I was like, oh, it's my home internet. But then I went to the Logitech G Cloud. I was like, no, it wasn't. It's just, the device matters. It matters big time.
Yes, native app, native device matters. And I'm with you. So hopefully they get in gear with this.
Absolutely. Next up, hot controversy. It's got no Xbox trending on Twitter. Granted, it's only a couple thousand tweets, but a lot of folks are talking about Oxenfree II Lost Signals. It's going to be available on July 12th of this year on Switch, PS5, PS4, Steam, and Netflix. Keep in mind before you go, what? That Netflix, not Xbox? Remember, Night School was purchased by Netflix. So obviously they're going to be supporting the mobile platform is what they said, mobile devices on Netflix. But no Xbox here. And fans, again, are just getting really fed up with this, man. Like now they're popping off on Oxenfree II, going, this isn't our number one game, but what the hell gives? And, we joked about it before the show, but I'm going to say it here. We looked at this and we go, man, what are we going to say now? It's not Square Enix. It's not Square. Now it's Night School. We got Capcom's Battle Network missing.
Mm-hmm.
Cog, if you had to put on a blindfold real quick, just take a shot in the dark here.
Mm-hmm.
What gives? Night School not bringing Oxenfree. Are we going to have to accept that some devs are seeing the sales aren't there? Are we going to have to accept that this is the Game Pass effect, that we're seeing Xbox consumers would rather wait for the Game Pass launch? Do you think, because that's where my head's starting to go. I mean, how couldn't you with just so many back-to-back examples of it? I know one's mostly coming from the same company, which speaks to the partnership we talked about last week, which Jez reported was starting to fray a bit. But when you see it from now other companies, where you, I can't speak. What are you feeling on this?
I guess the first question is the first Oxenfree, because I didn't pick up that game, so I just wanted to know if we do know on the fly before I make a comment.
Let's take a look here.
Yeah, because
Oxenfree 1 is on Xbox.
Right, so the first one's on Xbox. Yep, looking at it right now. Xbox One, Steam, and Epic.
$10. Good game, by the way. If anyone hasn't played it, go check it out.
Yeah, cool. And I'm going to assume no Game Pass bag for the Oxenfree. Was Oxenfree 1 ever on Game Pass? That's my
I feel like at one point, here's a Reddit post from 2021. Oxenfree is leaving Game Pass March 1st. So it was there at one point.
Okay, so this is making sense to me. So
February 2021.
February 20, exactly. So it left Game Pass March 1st. Okay. So to me, obviously they got a bag, right? For the first one, they got a bag, launched it in the service. Okay, cool. Now here comes number 2. Now I gotta be honest, this could be a byproduct of the Game Pass effect, which is, okay, the first one, they got a bag, they're smaller, I'm assuming a smaller team, and now it's ready for development with the second one. Now it takes two to tango, right? Negotiations, what you think you're worth versus what Xbox thinks you're worth, right? Then at that point, they'll say, hey, maybe they say, hey, we did all these numbers or on Switch or these other platforms, and this is what our perceived value is. And Microsoft says, hey, you were good, but according to our metrics, your downloads on your Oxenfree 1 wasn't the greatest like that. So I am leaning to what you're saying, Maddie, where this could be a byproduct of that. And I have to be honest about it. It could be a byproduct of, hey, developers want a specific type of bag now for it based on their own internal metrics. And Microsoft may be countering that. It takes two to make the Game Pass relationship. Now, as far as why is it's not coming outside of Game Pass, it's a deeper issue, right? Because now it's like, okay, you're making it on all these other platforms. Obviously, Netflix bought you, so I understand that relationship. Right? I'm not going to hate. Like, I get that. But you have chosen not to make it on Xbox, right? And you're making it on all these other platforms. So it's got to be, one, cost for licensing. It still costs to put a game on a platform, right? And then 2, the elephant in the room, right? Which is we have to talk about the sales, right? We have to talk about what were the retail numbers, once it left, Game Pass, or even if it wasn't, like what's there to be gained. And I think this is something that they're going to have to address. I'm not going to sit there and act like it's oblivious, like it's a non-issue. It is something we have to look into, especially the smaller and the indie guys, for sure.
Yeah, because Xbox has been pro indie, right? And I guess since they're acquired, no longer independent, but they're definitely a smaller team. And so it does strike me as a bit odd and perhaps just an anomaly that it's missing the platform. But this is what we talked about with the kind of abusive relationship with Xbox. This is a non-issue that becomes an issue because of previously unaddressed issues that Xbox is just kind of brushing under the rug consistently. And I think that the biggest Band-Aid for them is going to be getting this Activision deal to go through. I think that's what's going to, I know it's a little bit off topic, but I just think that's going to be the thing that helps them kind of curve some momentum in their favor. And it's going to be interesting because right now the CMA is ramping up to make a decision, and Microsoft had, it's reported that they invited them out to showcase its products, UK's 10 Downing Street next week. around the same time as the verdict getting ready. So, I feel like they really want this to go through, because I almost think it's starting to detract their attention. You have to think from everything else surrounding them, like it's this or nothing. And so heaven forbid if we have that kind of FTC like week at the end of 2022 where it's, things are going south. It's not looking too good because, look, I trust things are moving in a positive direction for the deal. That's kind of been the scuttlebutt, but we've just seen how quickly it can turn around too. So I worry for them in the case that goes south too, because I think that's the kind of ace up their sleeve they're banking on to say, get out of jail free card. Like, look, yeah, you can get Oxenfree, but look at all these Activision games you're getting in Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not going to overreact to this one, but the reason there is even a reaction is, again, because of that constant missing the platform from other people developing games in the industry.
The last thing I want to say is in reference to Game Pass subscriber growth. And I think that is something that we have to factor in. We know that they're growing on PC, but I'm curious because if they're able to come to the table with very strong, now obviously this is a smaller studio, so it's not really going to apply to them, but maybe for a bigger studio that was kind of on the fence with putting their games in Game Pass or what have you, you come from a more position of strength if you have a very high, user subscriber base. So that's another thing that we have to monitor as well, because if that increases for them, then they become more in a dominant negotiating position. So we'll see. But I am going to be paying attention to this, like to see how consistent this happens. Because this is normally it's Square, and I'm like, okay, that's Square, okay, whatever. But if I'm starting to see a trend, like, okay, more indies are skipping, and this one is skipping, then we got to talk about it, and they have to address it. I know ABK is going on, but you can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time too. So let's get this addressed.
Yeah, I agree. So that is what's going on there. We'll shift our attention to Bethesda, who continues to have a little bit of a rough go. For PC fans, they're not pleased with this one, as it seems they have added de novo to the PC version of Ghostwire Tokyo, which, as Cog spoke about last week for his Game Pass pick of the week, Ghostwire Tokyo kind of having some trouble on Xbox performance-wise. Digital Foundry did their breakdown and confirmed that the PS5 version is better than the Series X version. And then it's also been learned that Redfall looks to be set to have this DRM anti-tamper technology for its PC version. So when it rains, it pours indeed. This is something that I'm very curious to get your thoughts on, because it seems like that the PC version was kind of going to be the saving grace of this game, right? That was our little silver lining. It's like, look, Xbox is looking to grow on PC, but then you see stuff like this that can obviously damage the performance of the game. What do you make of de novo, and how do you feel about it being involved in not only the recent re-release of Ghostwire Tokyo and its newest versions, but Redfall too?
Yeah, I mean, it is concerning. I think I got an overarching theory about what's going on, and I think this is, in my opinion, kind of a byproduct of the acquisition of Bethesda and them kind of operating in a silo and doing things how they work, right? Because de novo, from my understanding, it's kind of like that anti-piracy, and like kind of software, security software to prevent people from hacking or whatever. Now, this to add something late in the cycle, to me, because let's be real, if you just adding it now, the hackers that already done ran roughshod already. So to me, you're not if you're adding this type of stuff, you're not protecting the current climate of the game. The game been out. So to me, that denotes that from this point on, you either plan on adding stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if there's a DLCs coming, right? You don't want, like, damn, they got the DLC. You want to get your bread, right? Now, where the controversy starts with this type of software, from my understanding, is, it's very, like resource intense. A lot of people in the PC community do not like it. So that's where the controversy lies. So the vibe, the reason why I brought up the first topic about Bethesda is, to me, if you were operating pre-acquisition, right? This is the Fallout 76 days. This is the Wolfenstein Youngblood didn't hit days, right? And now you need every bag, every piece, every penny, and you like, yo, we got a DLC plan. Because remember, these games were developed a while before. You know what I'm saying? These things were in development, a lot of these games before the acquisition. So Redfall, remember, before the acquisition, even when I spoke to Harvey Smith, So that's, to me, this is energy that was in place before. The question is, now that they're still in that transitionary period, but now Microsoft is kind of, taking over, do these practices still continue, like for the new games developed during the Xbox regime? Because Ghostwire was before the Xbox acquisition. Redfall is before it. So that's my question here. But yeah, it definitely feels weird, but it felt, when I read it, like this is old school Bethesda in place, protecting their bag energy, and community, ain't gonna be feeling that. Like, there's got to be real. They're not gonna be, especially the performance stuff. Like, that's just something that people are going to find is unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's added there. And for those who are unaware, just a quick way of putting it is Denuvo is just going to tank the performance literally on the PC frame rate and whatnot. So a lot of people aren't pleased about it. Let's move on over to Obsidian Entertainment. This is an interesting bit of news picked up by Idle Sloth over on Twitter. It's here that we're learning potentially Obsidian Entertainment has a third game in development. So we know they're working on Avowed, and we know they're working on The Outer Worlds 2. Both games are said to be worked on in Unreal Engine 5. However, there is a job listing that's looking for a Unity gameplay programmer, which could suggest a third game in development at the team. And Cog, I'm wondering, man, like, what's the vibe? I don't think it's obviously Fallout, of course, but they're busy, man. If you think about it, because Fallout's certainly one that could be on the table for them in the snap of a finger, but they're moving forward potentially with something else. And I guess it's anybody's guess what that may be. But man, I don't know how they're doing it, but I like that this is probably a sign that they're moving forward with more experimental games. Because when you look at 2022 and the games and the Metacritic, the OpenCritic aggregation from Obsidian, it was arguably one of their best years in company history in the terms of critical reception. And they didn't do what their bread and butter was. Like, they're such a redefined studio now, where I think it's extremely exciting to think about where they could be going next. So what do you make of your A team going over to Unity for a new game?
Yeah, the Black Rock is back. They're back. Yeah, exciting. They've just been a pillar of productivity, since they've been there. We could, if we want to parallel from a production standpoint, an output standpoint, you can make the argument like they're like Microsoft's, Insomniac. You know what I'm saying? Like they are putting out titles, and they're putting out quality titles. Say what you want about Panther, it's still a quality title. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like Grounded is a quality title. We already know what's going on with the Outer World. So, and now we know Avowed, and of course, you know what I'm saying, the other things that they're working on. So it could be two things. It could be, I mean, I would hope it's that New Vegas kind of situation. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I guess my curiosity comes down to the scale, because we do know, what I'm saying, Avowed is a big project, right? So is it another big project, or is it like a medium size or bite size kind of Pentiment like project? And I'm very curious if it's going to be, because I think the post was talking about like Unity. So is it going to be like a Unity thing, which is small, or is it going to be something that's going to use Unreal Engine, which would kind of denote to me that it's bigger? The question of this project comes down to the scale. I'm very curious how big this would be. And hey, we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I mean, and again, they still got Outer Worlds 2 coming. So they got a lot going on. If I had to guess, I don't want to get too gassed and be like, yo, it's another big one. Probably it may be medium size, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Anything
I'm
they
going
do
small. I'm going small. You got to eventually get Avowed out, right? Like,
yes.
Not that I'm in a rush for it, but I'm sure Xbox isn't either, clearly. But I feel like that's got to eventually get out. You revealed it in 2021 or 2020. I'm trying to remember, but you revealed it within the last 5 years. Like, it's time to start showing more of it and probably get it out within the next year. So it looks like maybe they're ramping up for something new. And I'm going to guess it'd be smaller, but again, it's anybody's guess. The job listing right now over on Obsidian doesn't tell us much of anything except that it is a Unity game, which is very, very interesting. So we'll see what comes of it. I mean, a lot of these games get canceled. Josh Sawyer actually posted like an interesting thing. There was this trend going on for game devs on Twitter talking about games that were canceled. We heard a bit about a canceled Battlefront 3, which is a heartbreaker. And then Josh Sawyer spoke a bit about a canceled Aliens game that was at Obsidian, and Sega chose to go with Alpha Protocol instead. So they could just be prototyping something that may end up being canceled. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, really interested to see what they end up putting out for us, because no doubt it'll be a banger.
You already know. Obsidian's here.
Of course. This one, kind of unsurprising. Bethesda has yet to fully confirm, but if you go over to SteamDB for Starfield, you'll see that the Russian language support for the game has been dropped. Bethesda has not issued a comment on it. It's been done quietly so, likely in response to the ongoing war overseas for us. But just wanted to make sure people knew that this was a thing that happened, and that's not swept under the rug at all, that Starfield has dropped Russian language support again, according to Steam.db. Cog, any thoughts on this one?
Not much. I was going to defer to you here only because, good catch on the news. And then, I had no idea that this happened. And, one, I can only assume that there may be some political aspect to it, but again, I'm just guessing. I don't know, but it is very strange to do that without making any type of a formal announcement. So that's what I could assume based on the climate in the world today is maybe what's going on there.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. There are some changes to the dashboard that were announced to Xbox insiders. The quote is, "We heard from you that the changes to the top of the home did not leave enough space for you to enjoy your backgrounds and that it felt crowded. We are working to balance the experience, accessibility, function, and the needs of our community and bring you a great and refreshed home experience," end quote. I'm wondering if it's just me, but have you noticed, like, we've been trying to get this home screen right for fucking ages now? I'm not trying to dunk on them, by the way. I'm just saying, though, like, I feel like it's been since we started this show together, you and I, that I've just been hearing constantly, we're working on a dashboard. We're working on a dashboard. We're keeping working on the dashboard. I don't get how I'm still hearing about this thing, and it looks the fucking same. But they're announcing more changes are coming. And they're going to clear it up, and hopefully it's to everyone's liking. I've never really had much of an issue with the Xbox dashboard. Is it as iconic as something like, the 360 blades or whatever? Ooh, definitely not. But it's got that Windows tile stink to it for sure.
Oh. So you not feeling the cubes? You not feeling that?
No, it's not bad, by the way. I'm just saying it's definitely got that stink to it, right? Like you can just tell it's not. It's not for Xbox, right? It's like, this UI over here is pretty cool. It's the Destiny effect, right? Oh, that's cool. Let's do it. Yeah, let's bring it over here,
right? You messy. Listen, I hear what you say. A lot of people do say that. For me, my main issue with it is, as a person who loves dynamic backgrounds, it is way too much cluttered at the top. It literally covers over the majority of the images that you try to promote. And I want to give them credit because to me, PS4 had it, man. Like PS4 had it. Dynamic backgrounds. You launched, the icons were small. It was about a celebration or whatever. I launched that bad boy, Ghost of Tsushima music playing. I see my Jin Sakai. Like, it was home. Like, they had a celebration for your game, for the background. Xbox now PlayStation 5 comes out. They remove the kind of that aspect. And it's kind of cheapened. Now Xbox finally gets dynamic backgrounds. Right now I got my Lightfall one, the Halo Infinite one, really cool, not a little vibrant, but it's like, I got all this advertising and all this, thing blocking obscuring my beautiful picture. That's my main issue. Like, we gotta make them smaller or something so that the focus is the backgrounds that you try to promote. So that's my critique over there, my feedback.
No, fair. And you're an Xbox insider, right? You're always giving them that.
Oh yeah, I'm super alpha. Like my gamer score, I challenge people. I'm like, yo, check out. I don't just talk about it. I don't complain. I give feedback. So I don't just complain on Twitter. I give feedback to the team through that program. Like, y'all messing up. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. What's up with the DVR? What's up with that? I'm on them. Oh, trust me. My gamer score for Xbox Insider is lit. I challenge anybody because if you go to the friends list, you can see all the scores. Everybody's like, yo, Carl, your joint is crazy.
I love that. That. Good thing you're involved.
Yeah.
It needs people like you. We got next up here. This one's kind of funny. This is definitely a cart before the horse moment here, but Microsoft is placing ads around London promoting its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Tom Warren actually posted this clip on his Twitter account, and we can see it for ourselves here. It's very bold. It's claiming that the Activision games are part of Game Pass. It says Call of Duty for more than 150 million players. You actually see MW2 on a laptop screen. You see and by the way, I'm talking OG MW2 on a laptop screen. And then you also see some of the more modern Warfare games on a television. And it tells you to learn more about the acquisition over at aka.ms/150. So they're pushing a bit of the promotion there in the UK space, Cog. They're kind of acting like it's a done deal, and even inviting the CMA out to just come on, see what we're doing here beforehand. What do you make of the big play here by Microsoft trying to lock down the UK? And this will go very, very well hand in hand with our next news story, where things in the European region are for them right now. But curious as to your thoughts on this.
Yeah, this is what do we call it? Putting your meat on the table. This is big meat on the table energy.
Yeah,
you're real premature with it, and you don't care. You don't care if anybody see it. Your meat's on the table. That's where they at with it. Yeah. So look, I was very surprised. You know it's disrespectful somebody just put their meat on the table.
Yeah, like, yeah, absolutely.
This is me. I'm here. What you gonna do? What you gonna? That's what this is. Like, this is the utmost confidence. The deal is not finalized, and you out here making ads with Subway Train. Like, I saw it, I was like, wow. Like, this promotion was so crazy. I'm like, yo, some of Xbox games don't even get this level of promotion. So for them to be going this hard, they are confident this is going through. Like, they are like, this is like, what? This is literally
make what are you make it.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? Energy kind of thing. Man. So yeah, I was very surprised to see them this aggressively, in the UK. So obviously, some latest news came out. It looks like I'm not getting to the depth of it, but there's been some things going against the FTC and the way they've been handling. We're seeing information in reference to now the EU, and look, it just feels like everything now politically is going in Microsoft's favor. So yeah, I was surprised by this, and definitely them trying to get the word out in that market to prepare that region that this is going to most likely be the home of Call of Duty. Game Pass is going to be a thing. And yeah, like you said earlier, like if once this gets finalized, then this is a major game changer for them. This is major. And we'll talk about the other thing later. I know you want to correlate to it because there's a lot connecting this.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, one thing you mentioned about things swinging in their favor potentially is Dustin Legary had posted this on Twitter as well, that Tennessee Representative Diana Harshbarger had pointed out to Lena Khan, the head of the FTC, that it was, quote, remarkable, end quote, that the FTC had taken Sony's side, considering the company controls 68% of the global market for high-end video gaming consoles. And Lena Khan had just said that the FTC really benefits from hearing market participants across the board, and then says the independent judgment is always made based on the law and the facts. So getting a little aggressive here in the United States over this. It's kind of interesting hearing all of these politicians talk about video games, but here we are just checking the FTC. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of back and forth going on now for sure.
Oh yeah. I'm like, the FTC getting checked now. Well, this is crazy. Like, what is going? Buckle up, hopefully we getting there soon.
Hopefully. And if it goes south, then I mean, we're gonna be here for a while.
We got content for days about what do they do next?
Divine and Duke will never end. So connecting this data here with our previous story. So we mentioned like Microsoft posturing a bit in London. You'd think they kind of run the show there, but things are looking pretty good for PlayStation in Europe. And I think the stats, while not indicative of the globe entirely, definitely speak to where Xbox is at and how they're being outsold 2-1 here, as it has been reported. So in Europe for March, the PlayStation 5 is up 500 or 400%. The Switch is down 19%, which makes sense. We're talking about a system that came out in 2017. People are kind of ready for that next iteration, which has been rumored for so long. But the Xbox Series console, a lot newer, down 13% in March. Now, the Q1 hardware has also seen a major drop off for Xbox and PlayStation 5, man. Holy shit. Why did they need Call of Duty? This is nuts, man. Look at these video game numbers. Okay, listen to the difference here. In Q1, like the entire quarter, PlayStation 5 is up 369%. Switch is down 18%, and Xbox Series consoles are down 10%. I mean, it just goes to show, man, these exclusives matter. Obviously, you know, you're coming off the back of God of War and you're seeing what happens when your console is supported. But with Xbox, you're seeing the damage. Now, this has always been a tougher region for them, no doubt about it. PlayStation has always had a pretty good run of things in the UK, but Xbox does have, or I'm sorry, just Europe in general, but Xbox does have good EU presence with even some of their first party studios. And so it's very interesting to see them lagging behind where they're down 10%, even though Game Pass is apparently growing. But this is definitely the damage, no doubt, as you exit that holiday period from, you know, the lack of games in 2022. It'd be foolish to expect it to be up, but to be down so much, this may explain why things like Redfall potentially are in that we've hypothesized get it out the door type of status. Like you gotta go now, man. Like we're dying out here. So, Cog, what's your take on the data here from Europe?
This is very interesting to me, and look, we got to call it how it is. It's concerning. It's concerning to me because normally I don't get too crazy with hardware sales, but look, we just got to be real.
Same.
You know, PlayStation, you know, the job that this is what I always tell, like, people don't realize you could clown Jim Ryan all you want, but the job and the transformation he's done for PlayStation in that region is been phenomenal. And the reason why he has risen to prominence over there. And they've really done a good job, you know, as far as making, you know, PlayStation a viable name as the brand in that region. So Xbox has an uphill battle there. I get that. My concern is the Switch, like you said, it's an older console. We understand, like, you're that long in the life cycle. Hardware's finally, you know, showing its age. I get that.
Software should be up, but hardware makes sense. It's down. People already got it.
Exactly. And to me, the reason why I am concerned is one, it's three issues. One, now PlayStation supply chain seem to be resolved. That was the main. 400%. I think they're available now, right? so you got that. Then here's the flip side.
In fairness, that could also inflate the numbers, the availability.
True. Go on. But back to availability, which also I'm hearing reports that Xbox Series consoles are not as available. And, you know, shout out to, you know, the great Jez Corner, Windows Central. It's good to see you. Episode 300 as well as Maddie Plays. You know,
of course. I forgot to congratulate you on that. You know, it's such a huge deal. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you, brother. It was so good. Bro, I was really happy to see you. But that's aside.
I can tell because you were hitting my line a couple of times. Bro, I was like, just... You're like Ron McCaffrey showed up. Wish my Duke was here.
Ron McCaffrey showed up. Where's my brother at?
If I didn't show up, you absolutely should have given me the smoke. I knew I was coming in hot, but I was like, I'm definitely going to show up. I was worried because my dad. So long story short, my home setup has completely changed because I work from here in the office all the time.
Right.
So my dad took the Blue Yeti mic out of my room because we used to share that. Because I didn't need the microphone anymore because I wasn't working there. So when I was hopping on, I was like, oh no, I only got this stinky HyperX headset. Like, I'm like worried I'm gonna take a sip of water. You're gonna hear me like that. I was nervous stepping in, but unfortunately it didn't seem like it was an issue.
Nah, not at all. It was so good to see you. And like I said, I've done better about my feelings. I was like, you know what? This is gonna bother you that he's not there. So be honest with him and hit him up because I know he goes through a real life situation. But I was like, yo, bro, I don't care what you got. I don't care if you got a piece of cup in the string. If you can come on, you came through. So that was lit. But anyway, back on point. So with the series consoles, you know, what we're hearing, again, shout out to Just Gordon, is that their availability is down as well. And that is troubling this late in the cycle. Now, the reason why we're hearing is because, like we talked about Call of Duty, right? Look at the advertising. You're seeing it cloud, you see it on the laptop, you see the tablet. So the vibe, what I'm hearing again, according to Jez, is that the focus on the hardware and the supply chain for Xbox is going to Azure servers. Because if you are to get Call of Duty and Activision, right? And this is, now we're talking big business for the people who's like, yo, the hardware, and I get it. This is legit concern. But if we're talking big business, if the end game is Azure, Cloud, Game Pass, and you expect to get Call of Duty, you know what's going to happen the minute that service is announced and get Call of Duty is announced on the Xbox platform. We have to be real. I don't agree with Sony's exaggeration that everyone's going to leave PlayStation. I don't believe that. That's just you trying to speak to your stakeholders. You said you kicking and screaming all the way. I don't believe that, Jim Ryan. But what I do believe is when the common guy who may not have an Xbox says, oh, it's available now, the new Call of Duty or the Modern Warfare. Now, there's going to be an uptick in Xbox. There's going to be a huge uptick in Game Pass. There's going to be a huge uptick in streaming. Those numbers are going to fly up on that level. So this is how I internalize it. They're making a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain, which is we are not going to have a lot of the consoles available. Those are going in the server racks. We got to think about it. Remember PC Game Pass they just announced all these countries. Yeah. They just launched it in for the first time. But here's the flip. I get the long play, but they just got to be careful because when you have a 2022 where you didn't have any major first parties, now you're starting kind of rocky, right? This is critical for these games to come out. Now it's starting to make sense a little bit on why Redfall had to come out when this is a critical year for many reasons, Game Pass and servers included. But look, this is not good. Let's just say from a hardware standpoint that they're down like this. So I hope this strategy does work out for them because they can't get too far behind 2-1 like that. Like it's really, really dominant what's going on right now with PlayStation.
Absolutely. By the way, there's one thing I want to address real quick for anyone who ends up watching the video version. So I'm in the middle of, as we record this episode, managing a crisis. So I'm sitting here recording, right? And I get a DM from Jimmy, who helps me manage Retro Rebound. We just put our Pixel Remaster live, and he's like, yo, the audio screwed up on the video. And it turns out at like one fraction of a second, it spikes out of nowhere. And I look at the audio, I'm like, nothing's wrong. And I'm doing this just while you're talking real quick. So if anyone saw me just like jump in my seat, it's because the audio got so fucking loud for a moment. I just wanted to make sure no one thought I was twitching out here or something like that. I was tweaking. I was tweaking over the news. Normally I don't manage this stuff. Normally I don't manage this stuff mid-show.
Or they gonna clip it. They go, Matty tweaking. Oh God, the Xbox sales are down. Oh God, hardware's down 10%. Look at them Xbox guys. Yo, I ain't gonna front. That would be a funny clip.
It would be. We got shorts going on now. So if Locke or Dustin wants to make a masterpiece of me just switching in my chair, I don't know how dramatic it was. I felt it. I was like,
dudes,
rattled me to my
hardware
core.
Numbers come out. You know they quick to clip us. They quick.
No doubt about it. Anyway, I apologize just so people know if they saw me twitching in my seat what was actually going on there. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was like, I'm going to address real quick.
That's fine. Now I'm going to rewatch the episode for this.
I was like, it could be the Streisand effect, but I'd rather people know in case they saw me like just wiggle my chair. I start off the episode. I'm feeling kind of normal now, guys, as I'm like having a seizure in my seat right
Console fanboy, Mr. Manny plays tweaks out on the Xbox with terrible numbers.
I don't know how this happened anyway, but I apologize to our listeners if you saw me twitching. All right. Diablo 4 has gone gold ahead of its 6/6/23 launch. And get this, COG, a little salt in the wound here, but still important information. Diablo 4 on Xbox Series X is coming out at full 4K 60 FPS and Series S will have 1080p 60 FPS. Aiden Glass writes in, howdy Dukes. With Diablo 4 going gold, it had me wondering, will the term gone gold ever be useless? As far as I'm aware, it only refers to when a game is ready to start printing discs, which, by the way, Hayden, your understanding is correct. As we move forward towards an all-digital future, do we need a new term for when a game is finished ahead of launch? What say the Dukes? Now, Hayden, to my understanding, and by the way, this has nothing to do with the game I'm making, just in general, to my understanding, because I have not got to that point yet in the game I am making. But
Tom Stafford, y'all, he mentioned the game. He mentioned the game.
Put the tally. That'd be a great short. That'd be a great short. Just a DD. How many times has Maddie said this?
Does Maddie say he make it again?
But in general, this information does not come from that. It comes from just what I've heard from other developers is that it also refers to just like the final print means like the day 0 version that they're ready to start listing for the day 1 patch if needed. So that is my understanding. So I think Gone Gold will continue to be a term forever, would be my understanding of it. But for you, Cog, Diablo IV, we were both very pleased with the beta. It's Gone Gold multiple months ahead of launch, almost 2, actually, I should say. Full 4K 60 on Series X, 1080p 60 on Little Man. What's going to go wrong here? Where, like, I feel like they're pulling my leg. Everything sounds too good. They got time. They got the specs. It's got to be monetization, right? Like, that's where we're going to go left here. I'm curious, though. What do you, in all seriousness, make of it going gold? Your excitement for the game, the specs, the disrespect, if you will, to Redfall?
Listen, man, you know, I get surprised these days when you see full 4K 60 on the title and just 60 frames. It's kind of a thing. Like you get it warms your heart when you see that information. But no, this is good. Shout out to them. I gotta give credit to the team. Shout out to Rod Ferguson. Shout out to Blizzard. Like Rod Ferguson is the finisher, bro. He's affectionately, I call him the finisher. He gets that thing across that goal line and he scores that touchdown. And the thing about him is that I've had him on. I mean, I had Cliffy on, and Cliffy spoke very highly of Rod. And now, you know, Rod's over there doing the Diablo. Look, it's a very polished game. The cool thing that they've done is they took all the feedback. I don't know if you see the latest patch notes. I mean, the latest information with the community. Like people were really complaining about, you know, balancing. The druid is very weak. This one's overpowered. Necromancer. They took basically every bit of feedback, and now is going to be available at launch. So to me, that shows that you sequentially had this rollout ready. This is a true beta where we take feedback, implement it, and then release, as opposed to, it's a glorified demo, go check it out. Yeah. And by the way, we ain't gonna take none of your feedback and we'll patch it later. So that means that they had a window in development set aside for the community. Like these are massive changes, man. Like trust me, these are not. I'm glossing over the changes they've done. It's a lot. So salute to them on that. You know, as far as you know, the frame rate and stuff like that. That's what we want to see. You know, we want to see the consoles push as far as they can. It's very exciting to see the Series S, you know, with the 60 frames per second focus. So that's also good. As far as I'm with you 100% on the something going gold. I think it's a terminology that just for, again, the day 0, what it's coming out at. You know, the reality is by the time the gamer gets it, there is a patch as day 1, so it doesn't even apply. I just think it's probably an antiquated term now, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But I just think from a development standpoint, they like to utilize it as day 0 kind of thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Diablo. I think they're handling great. I will say though, as far as going wrong, listen, this ain't my first rodeo. Do not expect on day 1, them servers gonna get demolished.
Yeah.
Give it a couple of hours on that first login. I play Destiny, I play, you know, live service, and then remember they're online. And with the hype this game getting, that first day, you may check on later that evening or, you know, the next day, and then things will start to mitigate it. So I never flip out. That's just the nature of live service. You cannot, you can try to anticipate, but you can never predict exactly how the server load is going to be, no matter how prepared you are. It's a tough business. And I think gamers always like get at live service games for that, but they really need that feedback to see where all the server and all the networking is coming, and all the online user base is coming from. It's a big process, but salute to them. I love the way they've been handling the actual feedback, patch notes into a final release. That is to be commended. Most have not done that.
Absolutely. Now, keeping in line with Diablo IV, I'll share some thoughts afterwards. We've learned that it is going to have seasonal content rollout, and the Battle Pass will take around 80 hours to complete. In an interview with PC Gamer, Associate Game Director Joe Pipiora revealed the length fans can expect to complete each season's Battle Pass, where he said, quote, "Right now, the Battle Pass, when you're figuring in completing the season journey alongside doing other content in the game, you're looking at roughly 80 hours worth of time invested to complete the entirety of the battle pass. To level a character to level 100 could take a little longer than that based on how you play. Wow. I'm wondering how you feel about the time sync, Sir Live Service, because, to me, it's all about the fun that's had on that journey. And what I played of Diablo 4 was extremely fun, high quality action RPG, streamlined and snappy. So I'm a believer in this game. I'm just like, you know what I'm worried about, man?
Sure.
After seeing RE4 Remake, it reminded me of what Activision has done before, which is I do worry that we get this game, reviewers have it in hand, we play it, it's like, oh, it's everything we wanted. And then it's June 7th, the day after release. And the microtransactions, the time savers, they're all live now. And that's the thing I worry about. Now, potentially it'll just be this battle pass. I trust it will, because the thing is, man, they got a winner here. When you played that beta, you just knew they have a winner here, man. They cannot mess this up. It is so good. So it's that apprehension I get sometimes when I'm excited, where I'm just like, hold on, I don't want you to hurt me here. But what do you make of the battle pass? You're much more seasoned in that live service content than I am, where potentially this doesn't sound like a big deal to you. 80 hours to complete a battle pass. What say you?
Yeah, I think, look, like you said, on enjoyment, man, the game just feels amazing. It feels epic. And I have no problem with that. As far as someone wanting to level up that pass and really take it to the limit and just get that enjoyment during that process with your character, I have no problem. I think the concerns come from Diablo Immortal, let's be honest, right? They're fresh off that, and people are like, yo, what are you going to do that's nefarious to sneak stuff in? Which, they've had a history of doing things, same kind of thing. And I get it. It's just, I'm going to be of the mindset that it wouldn't surprise me if they try something afterwards, but the PR probably wouldn't go that great for them because people are watching. But then again, this is still Activision pre-acquisition.
Yes.
And we have to still remember they are operating still as if they are not owned by Microsoft yet. So if up top is like, yo, you can get a couple skin packs and little time savers for the cogs of the world. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I don't listen. I totally agree with the nefarious nature of, my Destiny fans kill me with this because they have these little things in, and I literally tell people, they made that for me. I already know, and I am unashamed in saying I have used because I don't, in Destiny, I only run one character. I'm not running 3 characters. I'm not spending that game it's already stealing my soul 1, right? So they'll have a time saver for if you want a second character, if you want a third character, and they'll have this little boost thing that they want you to pay for. And I have done it for certain times. I'm not going to sit there and lie. So they're targeting a specific base. The key is be transparent from the beginning. Yeah. Don't wait until you release and then be like, haha, you know what I'm saying? Here's all this other stuff. So that's the thing. And people are not a fan of it, but we're going to see. I'm very curious. I'm very curious if they're going to, businessify this.
Because I'm sympathetic to something like Among Us, where they go, oh, this is blowing up. Let's start supporting this, right?
Right.
Where it wasn't a plan. It wasn't expected. So you kind of catch up and start supporting it after the fact because you don't know how it's going to do. And I mean, it took 2 years to really start blowing up, right? But with Diablo 4, with Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's this isn't a surprise that these games are going to do really well. You got to let people know ahead. You can't sneak these in last minute. And so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I said this in my preview of the beta on my channel, which was, if you have to have Diablo Immortal exist so that 4 can be untainted, let it be. Y'all whales can go over to Immortal and support your imaginary sons over there and all that good stuff. But, we don't need that in Diablo 4.
Bro, I hear you with this purity talk to my soul. I hear you.
But we know it's a business. Corporate cog. I know.
Especially, listen, if this thing is popping, they're gonna try to figure out something. I would be shocked. I'm gonna be honest. I would be shocked if there is no additional monetization at all with this game. I would be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, what we should do is find what they're putting in the water over at EA to make them a legitimately awesome company as of the last like 6 months, and then take that water and bring it over to Activision Blizzard and have them sip. Because then we can start purifying this industry. We don't need that crap.
I respect that. And maybe their way, their monetization model, maybe it through the DLC content. And maybe they go that route. Maybe they
just, hey, here's an expansion. Come buy it.
Yeah, there you go. And they could get their metrics that way. So we'll see.
All right, let's move on to our next one. We got just a couple of bits left, and then we will talk about what games we are playing. This is a small but big one. I've seen a lot of Xbox sites tracking it. My excitement for it is low, but I think a lot of people are interested in it because of what it could mean for the big GP, aka Game Pass. Ubisoft Plus, now on Xbox. So this is their $15 a month subscription service where you can get all of their games in one vault. You can also get all their stuff day one, I believe. You pay for the higher tier. So if you are a big Ubisoft fan, which there are many out there, believe it or not, I think Colin Moriarty is one of them with his Far Cry 6 tab. Bro, when he sat there with a straight face and said he put over 100 hours into 6, I was like, I might quit. Like, I might just
You was
quit.
always putting your LSM resignation.
Like, the letter was getting typed up. I was like, Far Cry 6? What? But
Ubisoft games.
But Ubisoft games do scratch that itch for a lot of people. And now Ubisoft Plus is on Xbox. Cog, the less biased one of the two of us, what do you make of this service reaching the platform? You excited, man? The hype is there?
No interest. I gotta keep it a buck. I literally logged in. I said, all right, let me stop hating. Let me go and see if I was to do it right now, what do I get? I logged in. They're like, you get the ultimate versions of all these games and, you know, the 10% discount on whatever. And I'm just like, all right. And I looked at the library, and unless you're like this hardcore Assassin's Creed guy, you know, I've kind of my time with Assassin's Creed have come and gone since they've changed their focus, less stealth kind of thing. And then I looked at them like, all right, Division, and I realized like I kind of fell out with them. Like I looked at that library, there was really nothing appealing. So the only thing, and then let's be real, you know, I told people I had a feeling that this was not going to be into Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? I had a feeling. People was like, oh yeah, when that comes, that's going straight to game. No, Ubisoft said, no, we're here on the platform. But if you want our service, you gonna pay, and my thing is $17, my guy. 17. Like, what franchises deserve this to me? Like, I don't feel y'all. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Assassin's Creed is popping, it's popping. But I couldn't justify that for myself as a gamer. So the only thing I could think of is, okay, well, maybe when they do have a banger, right? And I'm like, okay, jump in for that 17, get that joint, rock out, and subscribe. That's the only thing I can think of right now. But for me, I don't know about how you feel about it, but you know, it's just I'm not there with Ubisoft Plus just yet.
No, me neither. I continue to be baffled that the service actually continues to exist. Not because it's bad, but just when I look at Game Pass at $15 a month and what you get, and then I look at where Ubisoft prices their subscription service, it's just to me so night and day for the same price tag. And you have to be into games a pretty decent amount to say like, oh, I'm going to pay this much for Ubisoft Plus. But I guess if we think back to a write-in we got last week where someone said like, yeah, I just tried these stuff out in Game Pass and I'm not really a fan of it. And you know what your taste is in games and you know you like a particular style of game, then it does serve its purpose. Just for me, as someone who likes all different types of games, I don't see the value of it unless it's like same thing with EA Play. Like I would never subscribe to EA Play. I like what they do with the trials. I think that's valuable to fans. But like it was only valuable to me when it got wrapped in the Game Pass, not because I'm just this Game Pass stan, but just that it feels like a part of a package deal rather than its own standalone thing. And it's really hard to do that because Game Pass offers a variety, which a subscription service should, versus like this one avenue from this one specific style of game. At least EA shakes it up from time to time.
I agree. And to me, when you price yourself at that, you're pricing yourself as a higher value proposition than Game Pass itself. And I'm like, your library ain't on that level. I'm just gotta be real. Like that's just where I'm at with it. So to me, the smart play would have been like what EA did. Find a way to wrap yourself into Game Pass Ultimate, the highest tier, and okay, maybe $5 more. I might have been like, all right, you know, you pay $5 on top of your Ultimate. it's now rolled in. Okay, now you got me. But for $17, yeah, you can miss me with that. I'll holler at y'all when y'all got something that I'm interested in. I'm not there with it right now.
All right. Let's see what's next here. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It has finally been officially delayed to February 2nd, 2024. This is crazy because it'll mark 9 years between games for Rocksteady by the time it comes out. But this is, again, off the back of a lot of reports saying it would be delayed after the showing at the State of Play. And now it's finally official. But Jason Schreier had chimed in as well. And he writes, because he was the one who broke this news, by the way, so it's important just to take in mind what he is saying, which is that, of course, we know this 9 months isn't enough to completely change the nature of the game. He says the team was told that the delay was for polish and not related to the February gameplay showcase, and that there are a lot of other factors that can affect this release timing. But to be clear, he says polish can mean lots of things, from performance optimization to balance tweaks to fixes on bugs to server stability. Folks are surprised that dev would take 9 extra months to polish a game, but that's actually normal these days. 9 years between games, less normal, as we've already highlighted. So just keep in mind, I think number 2 in his tweet here is the most important point, is that the team is told the delay was for polish and not related to the reception of the gameplay showcase, which is what we all thought it was going to be, especially because they were the game that the showcase was marketed around, that State of Play. So I'm wondering for you, Cog, what you make of Jason's added on comments here, and if the extra 9 months changes anything for you, because for me, it's staying live service, which we kind of expected it would. Unless they completely overhaul it, but that's restarting. That's adding another 4 or 5 years to the cycle, which they're never going to do. It's got to rock as is, where I almost wish it just came out in May and arrived as is, because it didn't look unpolished. It just looked not as original as a Rocksteady game should be, especially with this big gap in time. But what do you make of the official delay now for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
It is interesting in, delayed again. Obviously, I'm always team delay, but I like to know the inner workings of the decision. What's the thought process of why, they're doing that? And, according to Jason, like I said, that it's related to polish, as opposed to, what I guess the fans were hoping, like, hey, we were hoping you get that live service thing out of here, and you're still kind of doing that. So that's not going to excite them. But we also got to factor in, when they were planning to release around Spider-Man 2, Starfield now is in your pocket, right? So it's like, you really want to go head up with those two? That's another factor. And then the other thing that I thought was very interesting is Jason's other subtweet about it. And he would just like to be clear, polish can mean lots of things, from performance optimization to balance tweaks to bug fixes to server stability. Folks are surprised a dev would take 9 months to polish a game, but that's actually normal these days. He said 9 years between games, less normal. So yeah, we know about the overall development, but as far as like the length of time it being normal. So yeah, I guess they still want to tweak, and I'm assuming there's more things work to be done. But I also think there's a factor with that September, bro. You can't.
The holiday was never the option, right? So you got to go further beyond that.
Push that back a little bit.
Yeah. So we're rooting for them. Hopefully it's better than we all expect. Especially, again, I'll go back to the narrative components. That stuff did look good. That did look like Rocksteady, vintage Rocksteady. And so I am interested in that. But the gameplay itself, I hope they come out and really surprise us and prove a lot of us wrong. All right.
Fair enough.
That's the news for now. Let's talk about what games we are playing, sir. Would you like to go first? Because I like one of your picks here. That's not really a game, but I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so let's start with that. Because, I was the last Duke, people had to be a man of my word about things. You've been really talking up the last Ronin. And from a Ninja Turtle standpoint, about 90% through. And I ordered it on the spot while we, were doing
a lot of people thought you didn't. I saw the responses to your tweet. A lot of people thought you didn't, but you are a man of your word.
Man, my word, gotta follow through. Man, he's been talking. And then once we broke that, a game was gonna be based on this. Now I want to really know about this story.
And low investment, people, by the way. Low investment. This can be banged out really quick, as I'm sure Chicago say.
Bro, hardcover, sat there, and bro, I was just super impressed. It's extremely dark. I don't want to get into spoiler territory because I know people are still haven't picked this up. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this is so cool the way they're handling and like the fates of people from the universe and how things have moved on.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is what happened to Homegirl. Like, I'm just like,
I know you're going right away.
You know where I'm going? Like, so it just, and then you get
so
into the inner workings of the Foot Clan, the turtles, obviously we know the overarching, which we do spoil, is that there is one turtle left.
Yeah.
And the way this is broken down from a psychological standpoint.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It is so well done. And I'm just engrossed. Like, I'm just like, yo, this is good. So now, to me, this is hashtag just one energy. Like, I can see it. Right? I can visualize it.
When I first read it, that was my thought. Years ago, I was like, yo, this should be a game. And I said it on the show. But yeah, it has that just one vibe for sure. Third person, over the shoulder, open world, dystopian New York, one protagonist, multiple fight styles, bro. It writes itself. It's so obvious.
Yeah, because that one turtle can take all the jokes.
I believe they literally made it thinking of a video game. Like, it just, there's too much in that story of like the progression and where your character gets to where he wants to be and how he does it and other elements that are incorporated. It's just, very video gamey.
So video gamey. And also the overwhelming odds, spits into a game, countless enemies and stuff like that, as well as the advancements of the enemy, which I'm learning about the things that they're doing, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So yeah, this is fantastic. Highly recommend picking up The Last Ronin. So good. Thank you for that, sir. That was great.
Of course. Thank you for trusting me. I appreciate it. I saw a couple of people in your replies saying like, I picked it up because of Maddie. And that was cool to see because like, I get my game takes or something you can probably write, take home with you and say, okay, I'll pick that up, right? He knows what he's talking about with this. But with comics, less seasoned, right? And not really my specialty in coverage. So it was cool to see people enjoying it and getting excited for the game, man. I'm trying to create my own Midnight Suns army. Like, y'all gotta read Last Ronin. 2 hours out of your life for some of the best Ninja Turtle storytelling, great art, and it will get you excited for the game, no doubt. Especially, I'm not going to spoil.
Let's go.
The ending, the final frame. I always tell people the final frame, you'll see it and go, you just start applauding them because it's so smart. And I love the idea. It's such great setup. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Cannot
fantastic wait. Fantastic job. So I've been doing that, finish that. And then as far as the games, I told y'all, man, Ghostwire Tokyo still got me, bro. It still got me, man. I am really enjoying this game. And the thing about it is now I'm unlocking more of the powers, more of the skill tree, the fire and stuff. And I'm starting to see, I'm getting into the dance of the game. But more importantly, the main protagonist, his name is Nikito. And then the kind of sub-demon spirit that you with, which is called KK. Like, it started off contentious, but now it's like a brotherhood with this host on your body. And like the conversations, listen, the side quests are, normally I'm not a side quest guy. I got to be honest.
Really? Interesting.
Unless it's like,
it's not a bad thing. Just, I don't know. I feel like, cause you get so absorbed, I feel that like you do everything.
Now that's literally, you explained what I was just about to say.
Oh,
perfectly. No, perfectly. You explained what I was trying to say perfectly. And what it means is that if I love that universe, if you're wrapping me into this universe, I want to do everything now because I want to learn more. I want to stand. And that's what I'm starting to learn about this downtown Tokyo because, basically we did a Constellation. I think you were on that one. Were you in the Constellation? Was me, you, when Dagan was talking about ghosts?
Yeah.
Well, I think, okay, Dagan, this is the game for you if you ain't played this game. Because this is all about the supernatural. This is all about the paranormal. When these souls, that this town has been ravaged by these visitors, but some of these souls are not at rest and they can't transition, right? Some you have to exercise because of course. So it's getting into this paranormal, spiritual aspect. And I go for it. The atmosphere of the game has me on edge a lot of time. Like, it's not jump scary, but it's like, yo, this is some dark things we doing, like bro. And then like you'll jump into
you play with the lights off or lights on?
Oh, of course, gotta play with the lights off.
Okay,
gotta play with the lights off. Nice. And it's like, I'm like, damn, I'm uncomfortable. What's gonna happen if I do this thing? And sometimes there'll be traps, and that you have that. But then others really creative puzzles, and also some heartfelt stories about. There was this one I did, you know, and this grandmother, and they lived in this a place, and the landlord was overcharged. Landlord did some heinous thing to the kid. I'm not going to get too graphic with that. And there was some the soul of the child was crying out because it wasn't at rest for what happened. And you're searching it, and then I found, and then it has this ability, which is called the ethereal, which you press the X button, and you kind of can see the spiritual aspect of everything in the room, and you can open it. You use it for puzzle elements. You can then unlock things that then transition into the real world. So sometimes it's a back and forth, right? And that helped me solve this puzzle. And she was so happy, and you explained what happened, and it was a really heartfelt story. So again, the game is telling some really good narrative, really great dialogue, and I'm in love with it. And the thing that really I love the most is going from rooftop to rooftop also. Like, not just doing on the ground level, going on rooftop, doing the verticality of this game and finding out puzzles, gaining more souls, getting myself stronger, getting my skill trees up. And then the story itself, the main campaign, each chapter, I'm, okay, what is going to happen next? Like, I got to know where it's going to go. But I'm taking my time with it because I like the side quest. I'm like, yo, I want to do this side quest. I feel like I need to save these souls, man. Tokyo, they done ravaged Tokyo like this. Yeah, I mean, I gotta do the right thing, you know, kind of thing. So it's really cool. The flow of the combats, it's really cool. So Ghostwire Tokyo, I am still
that reminds me a lot of for my Jade Empire fans out there, it reminds me a lot of this quest line where there is this orphanage you find that's inhabited by ghosts. And the reason this whole valley is inhabited by ghosts, and it's because there was a flood that went through. But this side quest is about these tortured souls who are kids from an orphanage who drowned to death. And it is really sad, but it's also because but you can give them relief. And so there's like something in that's kind of happy and positive. Sounds like that.
That's literally it, because you'll do these things. And then even when there's stuff that's not, sometimes there's like souls that haven't transitioned that are floating around as almost like collectibles, right? So you go around, and then sometimes you just walk up to them and you hear the conversations they're having. You know, I thought I did the right thing. Like you hear them like just having these really intimate conversations about why they may be dead, or like it's really cool. I'm just really encapsulated with the world. So Ghostwire Tokyo, still rocking, still rolling, rocking on that. And then, of course, got to give it up to Naraka Blade Point, man. I'm spreading the gospel. People didn't. I got King David to put down Fortnite for a little bit. I did my job. So finally, Addict, I've been begging for, because usually we do a ILP Patreon community stream. So Addict usually gets his picks. It's always his games. And I'm like, bro, like me and the other lords, we've been waiting. Like, when we gonna do wrestling? And Naraka was on the play point, was on the docket for a long time.
Okay.
So go right, we'll do your Naraka game. And he had to admit, he had a ball. First of all, this game is really set up well for community. You could literally put a whole server easily with 60 people. You can split them up on teams. You could do it in threes. We had everybody come through, the fun, the laughs, people getting the gameplay loop down between just the fighting as well as the special abilities and the super. People are loving them. Like, oh, I got a super. King was going crazy. The only nitpick though, Naraka. You can't be forcing people to grind to level 5 just to have the ability to join a server room.
Yeah.
No, Naraka.
Yeah.
No.
Just that'll stop someone dead in their tracks from playing with you.
Yeah, like I understand level 1, level 2, you forcing them to do a tutorial.
Yeah.
I get that.
Let the tutorial get you there.
Yeah, if they want to jump in, let them rock. Like that part. Some people are like, yo, Cog, we can't get down. We want to play, but we're level 3. And it's just like they're forcing that. And I'm like, y'all gotta stop that. But other than that, playing in that environment, I've always wanted games to do that. Like, which is like, yo, let someone have their own, and it's free. They're not they're not EAing you. You're not EA will be like, oh, you got to pay for the Battlefield, server.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Give you the room number, the thing, and the path. Boom, everyone's in, and it's so cool. So those have been my 3 this week. Ronin, my game soon to come. Say Ghostwire, which I'm still rocking and loving, and Naraka is my casual.
For me, I've been reviewing a lot of games. I'm still continuing to review a lot of games. It's been a busy conclusion to the month. Let's start off with the Xbox first-party studio game from Mojang and Blackbird Interactive, Minecraft Legends. This game kind of caught me off guard. I thought it was way better than I expected. So when I got my review code, I had to make a business decision. I thought, like, what I do when I get a code for a game I might review, because especially during these busy times where we'll talk about Dead Island 2 in a little bit, looking at some other games this month into next month and seeing what we can get done. You don't want to dedicate time to a game that you may not end up finishing for review because you don't want to deliver this half-hearted review just to hit the embargo. So there are sometimes choices you make where, okay, Minecraft, not my type of audience, probably not going to review this, but there is a degree of earning the right to be reviewed that sometimes can happen in that process. And so I download Minecraft Legends because in my head, I'm thinking, well, as one of the hosts of Defining Duke, I want to at least have thoughts to share on the game. It is a first party launch and see where it ends up, and got pretty hooked, man. Good game. I was surprised because the visuals immediately were the impressive element to me. Like I fired up and went, oh, this is a good looking game. But you know what I liked most is that you have a nice action RTS here where you're not spending more time in menus than actually playing the game, which is fine for that genre, by the way. But as someone who is pretty bad and has played another first-party RTS in Age of Empires 4, the Trebuchet game, for those who don't remember, I'm not great at these games, to tell you the truth. And so I know there's a science to them, there's a learning curve to them, and I feel like this game shortcuts that learning curve because it is an action game too. So you can run around on your mount, you can get involved and swing your sword a bit. Spawning enemies is as easy as running back to a little portal and holding X, and you'll spawn guys who can target, say, enemies over the walls. There are guys who are dedicated to breaking down objects. There are units who are more tanky, designed to absorb damage. There are units that are like the creepers who just like blow up and they'll destroy anything in its path. So they're good for like the final push. And it plays well into being a Minecraft game while still being an RTS, where the familiarity with the units and the tight amount of them, there's not 1,000,001 soldier types and idiosyncrasies within them, like very cut and dry, about 10 units that you can manage with ease. You can gradually increase how many are following you. You start off with 20, so you can spawn like 5 of each maybe. And you can eventually increase that number though, and make these big assaults on these huge fortresses. Now, what's cool is the building element, I think, is the best part of the game, really, because what's nice is seeing in this molten biome is this big castle that's just elevated and safe, and you just build a staircase up there. You put some spawners nearby, you put some arrow towers nearby, and you're like, okay, like this is where we're going to start the assault. And you start leading the charge, right? So you start scaling this big staircase up alongside a mountain. And what I like is the ease of approach here, because like you'll be able to distract the AI and then kind of come around the back door and send in like another wave. And that's where increasing that amount of units you can spawn, that number, is really important for the upgrades, because otherwise you're just going to make a ton of direct assaults and feel like you're running into a wall and wondering, why can't I do this? But yeah, it's a good time, not a steep learning curve. What I will say is, for those who are listening, who are maybe a parent, you want to play for your kid or introduce them to a game, this is still a difficult game. And I wouldn't say it's the kid-friendly experience that many people are expecting. It may make a kid like RTS games, but they're going to get absolutely dominated at times. I mean, there were times I was really going, wait, how can I get in there? Learning the unit types, watching them do their own thing, dying over and over. It's all necessary to kind of figuring this game out. And so I think, given some of its complexity in its encounters, not in its mechanics, so to say, is where some younger kids will have trouble. So just keep that in mind if you're like a parent thinking of having your kid play this. It is co-op though, so you can help them along with it. Co-op in this game is pretty good. My problem with it though is that you share units. So the starting cap is 20. And that means that if you're playing 2-player co-op like I did for my review, I get 10, he gets 10, or I get 15, he gets 5. And you got to kind of work with that. And this kind of stinks early on because you really want to have like, I got my army, you got your army, and let's pincer attack or something. You can eventually get to that, but it takes time. It takes time. But it's much like a Minecraft game. You spawn your own world. These enemy bases are all over these biomes. And you just spend a lot of time assaulting them. You don't start off with, like I mentioned, the skeletons, zombies, creepers. You don't start off with them. You actually have to like forge an alliance with them by freeing them. Like they're held captive by the main antagonists in this game are piglins, which are goblin pigs. And you got to free them from their captivity. And so once you do, then they'll join you. And it's a cool game, man. Like it's definitely way better than I thought it was going to be. And so that's why I ended up sticking with it and reviewing it because it kind of just earned my time continuously. It wasn't super bloated. And I again really appreciated its learning curve not being so steep because as someone who isn't great at RTS games, I did appreciate it. Now, is it going to be your flagship IP in the sense of like, buy an Xbox and play Minecraft Legends? I'm not going to sell you on that.
We're not there yet. Okay.
I wouldn't even sell you though. It's just a good Game Pass game. Like it's a good game. And actually we have a write in here from VRG who says, "Hey Dukes, what are your thoughts on Minecraft Legends? It's getting a lot of 7s, which isn't a bad score, especially for a niche game, but some reviewers like ACG and Skill Up seem pretty impressed by it. To me, it seems like a blending of Pikmin and an actual RTS where your character is the cursor and you don't have precise control of your army. Is it worth picking up for $40 to play through the campaign? Is it challenging enough for those familiar with the genre? Is it more or less complex than Halo Wars?" So I answered some of your questions already, VRG. Is it challenging enough? I think so. $40, definitely. I think that's a fair price for it. And is it more or less complex than Halo Wars? It's less complex in my eyes. But the 7 surprised me. I wanted to get your opinion because I don't think you had a chance to play this one at all. I think you passed. Did you play it?
No, I've not. Okay. I'm gonna play it this Saturday. Me and Attic wants me to stream with him.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the co-op, and I was like, "Bro, you're gonna teach me because I'm coming in. It's my first. I have not done Minecraft anything ever.
Wow. Oh wow, so, that's impressive.
Yeah, like I was the resist. You know me with my creepy dad energy. Like I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah, you can't be out there building.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that guy. Let the kids have that. Let the creepy dad get away. You don't want to do that. So, but Attic did hit me. He's like, "Bro, give it a shot. They got co-op." And Attic, I'm Lord turn-based. Attic, low key, you can make an argument he's Lord RTS. He's really good at RTSs. So I was like, all right, we'll do it. We're in a good pocket, creatively with ILP. So I'm like, let's do it. So yeah, this Saturday, plug, I'm going to be doing Minecraft Legends with Addict on stream. And I'm looking forward to I didn't count that I played it because I just fired it up and started the tutorial, but I didn't count that yet because I didn't feel like I played for me to even talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but I did fire it. But yeah, it is something I plan on playing.
Okay.
And I want to learn about it because I'm glad you said what you're saying because that you said it pleasantly surprised you.
Yeah.
And that is cool for me. And this is a game to me that if I do like it, that it will be something that I see it like, this is that cloud. This is that I can rock on the go, make progress type joint. That's not going to be a high latency game. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't know. It
didn't feel that way.
Okay.
For me at least.
Okay, cool.
But it will probably differ from person to person. It is more action oriented, but you can orient your units and like select them, and the controller map is great, so it is easy and intuitive.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
But I don't think you need complete precision, and you can at times, if you're smart, let your units, which you would want to do in RTS, let your units do the work for you.
Cool.
Yeah, but I actually think this segues in a way perfectly into the next game I'm playing because VRG writes, it's getting a lot of 7s, which isn't a bad score, but some reviewers are pretty impressed by it. And we saw the same thing happen with Dead Island. And I think it's really interesting because Dead Island, for some reason, Deep Silver decided to split the review process with embargo. So what happened is press got to go first for Dead Island 2 on the 18th, I think it was. And then YouTubers like myself get to post their reviews on the 20th. And it creates this weird separation that sends, I think, a really whack message. But I think Minecraft Legends was the benefit of what Dead Island 2 may be missing. I don't know what other YouTube friends of mine are going to review that game as, but I'll explain in a moment. Minecraft Legends.
I heard people are reviewing it.
What's up?
I heard some people are reviewing it.
Yeah, I know. And I know some good thoughts out there. But with Minecraft Legends, it was a game that was lifted up, I think, from its sevens, where I saw it and went, wow, that's actually kind of low. Not even for my own opinion, just it does all the basic work well, and it's a good looking game. And I don't think it is particularly super ambitious, but I think it's good enough where it probably should have gotten 8 in my eyes, but this is why number scores suck. But I saw it and I thought, well, that's pretty low. But I think what offsets it is myself, ACG, Skill Up, all went like, this is great. Go check it out. Like, it's actually better than you'd think. And now we see Dead Island 2 comes out with its reviews. It's like mid 70s on Metacritic. A lot of people are like, yeah, I expected it kind of mid. And I thought the game was great, man. I think Dead Island 2 is a very, very fun time. And I feel like Deep Silver could have used the balancing act here, because a lot of the reviews were very middle of the road, lower end, some very high, but most lower end and middling. And I feel like I don't get why this is a thing in our industry. This, not because I'm offended by it, because I know for a fact that my channel and many others out there pull way more numbers than these outlets do, and they still get the first pass. It's just one of two things. Number one, it's old school, which some companies have done this in the past, although it's kind of rare, but it has happened before. So it could just be an old school approach, which I don't get. Or I think it's an attempt at keeping the conversation for the game alive a little bit longer, which does not breed confidence. I let people know on my YouTube page. I put a community post out and say, like, hey, y'all, I have a review. Don't worry. Just it's coming later because it has to. Now, I don't have the choice in this one. And a lot of folks are like, that doesn't make me feel good about the game at all, that they're holding you guys back. Like, y'all, because the public perception, if you will, is that YouTubers and independent creators, rather, will tell the truth while press will not. And I don't agree with it entirely, but I think there are a lot of cases you can make a pretty good fucking argument for it. But this is a time where, like, I see Deep Silver and Dead Island 2 drowning in just average reviews, and I'm like, you could have used this, couldn't you have? Because this game is surprisingly great I think if you know what you're getting into, at least. So it's number one, shockingly linear. I just want people to know that right off the bat. Like, you have these little hubs, but they're way smaller than anything you'll even find in the original Dead Island. But it is a super linear game, man. And there are about 33, 34 side quests in the game. And it is a short game. Took me like 15 hours to beat, like, very quick game. It doesn't overstay its welcome, though, which is something I really like about it. It is not, I'm not one of those people who's like, just make the game shorter because I hate doing my job. Like, no, I love what I do. Just, I like when a game that's coming out against a bunch of competitive open world games like Redfall and Tears of the Kingdom is just timely releasing this tighter, and Jedi Survivor, this tighter knit, quick co-op experience. But I went into my review kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, what's the differentiating factor between Dead Island now in its current state and Dying Light, which was kind of the evolution of Dead Island for a lot of people? Like, okay, you still have the zombie slaying action, but with parkour. But Dead Island looked to kind of stay in that pocket of, boots on the ground, beating the life out of zombies. And what I learned while playing it, man, it is the detail with a capital D, man. Holy smokes. I mean, I'd say I have a pretty high tolerance for gore in video games, but this game is fucking nasty. Nasty. I'm talking, like I said in my review, like, I'm just going to I said, I know y'all might think I'm being dramatic, but like, just a viewer discretion advised. Like, this game is gross. And I don't know yet because I haven't uploaded it. As we record this, I'll have it up for the embargo, but I will be surprised if it gets monetized, because I'm talking like you will slap a zombie with a mace and you will see its jaw hanging off by a thread, like literally disconnected on one side with a thread, just stumbling at you. And if you hit him there again, blow it right off his head. Bro, it's not just headshots and stomps, man. Like, you dismantle these fucking things with visceral detail. Like, you will take his arm off and part of his stomach out, and you will see the intestine spill out. You will see really gross amounts of organs in this game, man. And it even goes down to the elemental effects. Like the visual feedback is awe-inspiring. Like I will drop kick a zombie into an acid tub and his ass will get up out of it and you will just see all the skin melted off, just organs and bone. I'm like, that's gross, man. I feel bad for the character artists, for the designers that had to put this one together because it had to be PTSD inducing. I was like, this is fucking gross. But it's what makes the game special. It really is, because while I like the combat in Dying Light, and while I like getting around in that game, for me, it was every combat encounter just putting together these weapons of mass destruction and just watching them go to work. It was nasty, but it was fun. It was just a really tight gameplay loop that was simple but effective. And it was because of the effort in that detail that really went a long way for me. And then again, with that tight-knit nature, I just kept that forward momentum going in progression of my equipment, in progression of the story. Last chapter, little long in the tooth. Fucking ridiculous ending, by the way. Holy shit. Like, makes no fucking sense. No sense at all. So just prepare for that. You're not here for the story, but oh my God. Just I was sitting there. I was in Discord with my friend. I was playing. I was like, bro, I said, I can't break embargo, but I don't know what to say right now. I was like, I don't know what to say right now.
What is happening?
Yeah, I am looking forward to the public reaction on this one, because it is definitely a what kind of, like Stone Cold Steve Austin's like, what? That kind of moment right there. Yeah, straight up for me. What? But great game, man. Great game. And replayable. Lots of characters, lots of skill cards that you can assign to your character to augment your abilities. Not as deep of a skill tree as you may have wanted compared to Dead Island 1 or even Riptide, I think. Like, you have 6 playable characters, but their variations may overlap in some instances, depending on how you want to build. But there are a lot of ways to build. So it's still an RPG at its heart. A lot of the focus is on that weapon customization, and it is a lot of fun. Gunplay is much improved. If you look at Dead Island 1 and Riptide, just go look for yourself online. It's pretty bad. It's super clunky. Like, it makes Fallout 3 look like Call of Duty. It's insane.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. No doubt in my mind. It's some of the worst first-person shooting ever. So to have that be an improvement is great. Guns are useful in this. And what it ends up being is, with the zombie archetypes and the weaknesses you got to target, it really is a very responsive combat system. Like, you're a firefighter. I can't just hit you with the heavy weapon because you're wearing like thick clothes. Like, I got to take out the bladed weapon and really get to work and make sure I hit the head area where you're exposed. Zombies will show up in riot gear. So now you got to take out the heavy weapon, charge up the power attack, and slap the helmet off their head, break down the armor. Very detailed zombie slaying experience. It does not reinvent the wheel on narrative, but it is really fun in its detail, because last thing I'll say is, it's not about the hordes in this game. It's just how you dismantle them. It's not about how you handle it. Let's just send 8,000 zombies at you. I mean, you'll get attacked by a decent group of them from time to time, but it's really, here's 4 zombies. How are you going to pick them apart? Because I died a couple times in this game. Like, you are vulnerable. And so, yeah, it's great. Way better than I expected. Salute to Dambusters, man. I mean, they were the last one I expected to get the job done and do it well. They made Homefront the Revolution, which was not good at all. The world of Homefront is really interesting, but the game itself, not so much. So to see them pull it across the finish line and do a great job, very, very pleasantly surprised by this one. Good game.
No, it's good to hear, because we knew about the development history, right? We talked about it. And then I got to give shout out to home team, lordsofgaming.net. My man Gene reviewed it, gave it an 8. He agrees with you. He agrees with you. He really feels it's a good game, a solid game graphically, and unique with melee combat, impressive visuals. And, only negative he had a little bit was the gunplay a little bit, and some bugs and stuff. But yeah, this is cool to see, because we know about the journey of this particular studio. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I like what you said about the visceral part. That sounds cool.
Oh, dude, it's definitely the biggest selling point, I think. Because I think some reviewers, I didn't really watch many, but given the lower scores, maybe some just kind of turned off their head and went, yeah, whatever, zombie slaying. But for me, like, that was everything. And just knowing the effort they would have to go through and probably the stuff they had to look up to research what kind of detail they needed to put in these things, man. Nasty video game, really nasty. So just be warned if you got like an uneasy stomach or something like that. Yeah, this one.
This ain't the one.
Yeah, this one's pretty intense. This one's pretty intense. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to some warm-up questions and then get into the news for the week. Number one comes from Sad Alternative 90s Songs.
I love his name.
That is a special one.
Bro, yeah.
Put that one up in the rafters. That's a good one.
Yes. That's all time.
Greetings, esteemed Dukes. I want a gut check regarding Bethesda, or rather, id Software. In 2014, Doom was announced. 2016, Doom was released. In 2018, Doom Eternal is announced. And in 2020, we got Doom Eternal. So, in 2023, what's next? It seems like id has developed a rhythm of sorts, suggesting we are overdue for an announcement, likely at maybe QuakeCon this year, the first in-person one since COVID. Imagine the crowd reactions. It has been theorized that id has seemingly concluded the current run of Doom and might be working on a Quake reboot, or perhaps a new IP. And so I ask you, gentlemen, is it time for a Quake revival, or would you rather see something completely different? Have a PS3 Skyrim lowering its frame rate the longer I play it, but I still love it anyway kind of day. I'm surprised you got through that, man. That game was busted at launch on PS3. Imagine the console war fanboys back then.
Bro, you want to talk about port differential and port, like it was
the Square Enix treatment by Bethesda, man. They were just like, PlayStation who? What?
They were skipping the platform and then the performance stuff on a lot of that was a main reason why a lot of people, went to 360. I mean, me specifically, I played all the Bethesda games on 360 exclusively. Like it was that substantial. But to your question about my man, sad alternative 90s in reference to the Doom stuff. Yeah, I think I could use a Quake. I think we've been hearing the hints, right? That Quake is potentially being revived and is coming. Of course, I love Doom. I don't have any issues with Doom, kind of thing. But I never played Quake. I never really played a Quake game, so I'm very curious about that. But also, if you gun in my head, I'd like a new IP. Be opposed if they want to do something new. I'm just saying. That's where I'm at. Where you at with Doom or Quake or new IP?
Yeah, man. I'm just excited for whatever they're working on next, quite frankly, because Doom in 2016 I thought was good, but I feel it was a little long in the tooth by the end and needed to develop its mechanics a little quicker. But Doom Eternal was one of the best first-person shooters I ever played. Like that game was phenomenal. So I absolutely adored it, and I'm just excited to see what they get up to next because they're some of the best first-person shooter developers in the industry. So for me, I think Quake would be great because I wasn't a big Doom guy in the first place, right? So that's where I already came from. And so I think I played like Doom 3 maybe, and I played Doom 64 like when it came out on Xbox Arcade. That was my limited Doom experience, but I just kind of figured it'd stop there. I was like, okay, it was important for its time and that would be it. But Bethesda low key has become the publisher of reinventing these classic shooters, Wolfenstein, Doom. Quake would just make sense. It would just make a lot of sense. And there's a lot of rumors suggesting that would be the case. And, fingers crossed, man, fingers crossed, because they could just make us a fan out of anything at this point with their talent. And I would be really excited to see them working on really anything, but Quake especially. I am with you though. A new IP, like that would be, to me, I think they've earned it. They proved themselves with Doom. They've reinvented it, revitalized it, made it more popular than ever. In my eyes, I mean, maybe that's just their studio culture, right? Like, let's go reinvent another one. But I think they've earned the right to just define what is the next era of shooters because they're that good.
Man, when it comes to that gunplay, come on, like these are legends. So yeah, absolutely. And what's crazy is there's it in that building, and Machine Games is in that. Like, there's a lot of great first person talent in that building. So absolutely, yeah, they earned the right.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens from there. But anything else you want to add, or shall we move on to the second question?
Good to go. Good to go.
All right. Question 2 goes to Matt Danger 87. What's up, Dukes? First time writing, but no 30 FPS energy from me today. I also wanted to say congrats to Maddie on becoming a homeowner. Thank you. And also congrats to Cog on 300 episodes of ILP. That was a marathon to watch/listen to, but worth every moment. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That being said, the next 2 months of gaming is going to be seismic on all platforms. I can't help but wonder, are we focusing too much on the negative conversation in gaming at a time when we should be potentially celebrating an all-time gaming year? Thanks for everything you do, and have a you've got a fan of the Dukes and the Lords for life kind of day. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate that. Cog, are we focusing too much on the negative? Is this the product of the Xbox space? What gives here?
I do. I agree with Matt Danger, though. I do. I have a problem inherently. Look, it just sucks that, like, you could put something up and it's just like, whatever it is, if it's negative, it's going to pop. And someone's going to be like, yo, this sucks. Or, I can't believe whatever controversy is going on, the outrage is going to win. And the only issue I have is, like, I don't see dudes enjoying games no more. I don't see dudes posting up, yo, this level or this part of the game right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see clips of gameplay. I don't see, like, dudes having fun. Like, that's just me. To me, when I jump on, again, maybe I'm just using Twitter and, as an example, it's a bad example, but, like, a lot of the time it's just like, yo, dudes going at each other over games all the time. And it just, at some point, it's like, bro, like, do you even enjoy video games? Because some people's sole existence is to complain online or to talk about another group. And here's the other thing. If you claim to love the console, the platform that you do as much as you do, then shouldn't you be talking about that more than the opposite platform that you claim to not like? That's the part that kills me. Dudes got all day to complain and talk about other people and ain't playing no games and ain't talking about the games. My thing is, just show me that you love video games. That's what I told you about my 10 tweet rule. That's why a lot of these dudes, to me, show me they don't really love video games. Because if you love them, like, I can't wait to talk about, yo, you play. Somebody be like, yo, I played Midnight Suns, bro. Like, you see, like, to me, I'm like, you enjoying something, you love something, you had a great time, you had a great experience. And even for people who clown me, with Destiny, look at my hours. I'm having a ball. Like, nobody can tell me I'm not having fun. And that's the thing. So that's the only thing. I do feel there is it's over skewed to reward negativity. And it's just where I'm at with it. It is what it is, but I don't try to run people's timeline. I just tell you how my timeline per se is not going to be dominated by that. That's just not how I move. I don't need all that negative energy in my life, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think to an extent, but for us to do better, we got to call this type of stuff out. And we've seen with Xbox this week, they're very quick to be like we hear you, we understand your frustrations. Xbox is the place for gamers. We haven't done that. They're very quick to take the egg on the face. And you've noticed with Redfall, they've moved very differently. Very head in the sand, quiet on Twitter, not really talking much about it at all, just kind of ignoring the noise. And so I do think us bringing that energy to the table is important, even if it does kind of suck, because it's very easy to be positive on this year. And we love what this year of gaming has brought us. But it's also brought us a lot of eye openers, like Forspoken, like this 30 FPS debacle, like microtransactions coming out after launch, which was a resurrection of something. These are all things we've got to be on top of. And it can come across as a negative connotation. And I do think social media influences that a little bit. Like Cog said, there are people who just live to do this type of stuff online, and that is their whole bread and butter. And let it be so. But I think it's ridiculous. But if that's what you want to do, go for it. Waste your time. But there is so much out there worth enjoying. I just think for us as hosts, when we ignore it, then we're not moving anything forward at all.
Oh, for sure.
Not that I think Matt is accusing us of that at all, but if we choose to ignore it, the companies will absolutely ignore it. So it's up to us with platforms to just be like, yo, this sucks, because we know we got relationships with people in the building who will hear us and take it, maybe somewhat personally, but take that information and maybe do something about it. So it does suck at times because, we want to be happy and cheery, but Sometimes you just got to deliver that, even if like the general vibe of gaming is on the upward trajectory. I think there is some stuff that we definitely always need to talk about.
No, absolutely. And I want to clarify my comments. My comment was more applying to like a personal social media timeline, right? As opposed to the Dukes, right? Reporting on the news. Now, you're absolutely right. When it comes to reporting on the news, oh yeah, we got to talk about it. Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't want to be like, yo, we not going to talk about it because it's just negative, and we don't talk about negative stuff because Cog don't want to be negative. No, I'm not saying that. I definitely agree with you. When news happens, yeah, that generates the conversation, right? Because we have to talk about, okay, why is Redfall 30 frames per second? Why is, what happened with, Staten or whomever, right? The questions have to be talked about. No, absolutely. But I guess where I went, I guess answered the question differently, was just more so like about how I look at social media and the way people talk about their individual social media platform, as opposed to, hey, we're doing a podcast to talk about Xbox news. Xbox did something stupid, then I mean, we got to talk about what happened and make sense of it. So yeah, I just wanted to be clear on that. So I agree with you 100% on that part.
Absolutely. But yeah, there's so much I am extremely excited about with this year. Definitely like with for me, like Battle Network and Starfield, it definitely feels like the year of dreams. And then the Ronin game gets leaked. It's like, wow, everything's going in our direction in gaming. So there's a lot to be uplifted about. But and there's definitely an influence on social media. And that's what we talked about with Redfall 30 FPS. We were like, yeah, I mean, there is the possibility that we look at this stuff and we're freaking out about it. But if the numbers come out and, as Cog would say, like 8 million vampires slain, then, did we just overreact? I think we should still have our options accommodated if we spent $500 on the box. But still, we may see that we are the anomaly here. We're not the anomaly. We are the outlier. We are the smaller number. So we'll find out. But Matt, thank you for your write-in.
Yes, salute.
Last one we got here goes to James York. Hi, Dukes. First off, thanks to Maddie for recommending the XBXPlay app a few weeks ago on the show, which lets you remote play 360 games. Not only does it work, but it's actually better than the official app now. Now, with that said, I am interested to hear the Duke's take on why Microsoft and Sony are letting apps like XBXPlay and PSPlay be the best versions of the apps for remote play on their respective consoles over the official ones. For all the talk these companies do about cloud gaming and the streaming future, it seems odd that they would just let third-party devs not only do it better, but make a few bucks off it, as XBXPlay and PSPlay both cost $5.99 US. If they want to have streaming succeed, they need to do better. My kids didn't put the controller back in the charger dock, and now the battery is dead kind of day. Oof, brutal.
Brutal, especially when you're ready to play that battery.
Yeah, this is an app that I called out like James wrote a couple of shows ago. And for those who are interested, the remote play experience here is way better. You get to stream anything. And I use it with my Logitech G Cloud a lot. And like I said, the backwards compatibility option is really the selling point for it. It makes it worth the $6 alone, because I remember when I found out the first time I got posted up in bed, it was before I had the Logitech G Cloud. So I had my iPad and I had a controller hooked up, and I was like, all right, let's remote play some Lost Odyssey. I was like all cozied up, man, some tea next to me, bougie kind of night. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And I go to fire it up and it goes, sorry, we do not support remote streaming for 360 games. I was like, what is this garbage, man? Now this app shows up. Not only do I get that embed experience, but it's all on one device. It's all on one device. And as for the whys, I think it's because XBXPlay, and PSPlay can be spottier. It's something I noticed when I was doing PSPlay for Octopath Traveler 2. I wanted to play that in handheld, but hunt some trophies down. And so I noticed when playing it again, that idea of, I don't know the back end work for it, but when you look at like the xCloud gaming experience over on the Logitech G Cloud and how well it runs, how smooth it is, and then you go over to XBXPlay, you trade off those features for streaming capability, I'll say. Like there is a couple more lags, especially when I was doing PSPlay, pretty pixelated experience oftentimes, not the art style itself, but the actual streaming quality was breaking down, getting to that 480 energy. I was like, not crazy about this. So you get the added features, the accessibility, and it is worth it for that, but it does come with the cost. So to me, there is a strength to each. Like, I like to play these 360 games in bed, and that is a cool feat, but I have to accept that I'm probably going to get knocked down to like 720 a decent amount of this. However, when you're using the official Xbox Cloud Gaming app, you do get all the nice bells and whistles of those Series X servers, and man, do they work great. So that would be my assumption, James. I don't know again why the backwards compatibility features are not available on Xbox Cloud Gaming, but Cog, I'm curious if you have any thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, these services are kind of new to me, so that's why I wanted to hear what you said as far as your use case and stuff like that. It's got to be, in my opinion, twofold. One, resources. Okay, where are they going to, put them as far as the back compat for like the older 360 games? We know that Jason and the team came out and said, "Hey, that's it. That was like a cutoff. We ain't really doing no more, from this point forward." And then the second part is, to me, having some IT and networking background, there's also have to be some type of security concerns where sometimes things like this open up portals on the back end. And we've heard the stories, obviously, with the Vita, for example, is one of the key things that the keys to the house from a hacker standpoint was made accessible, which then allowed the system to be copied, bootlegged, or what have you. And I think a lot of these companies have concerns with apps like this, that they don't not say they don't mind that third party apps are doing that, but they themselves don't want to necessarily open up anything unless they can confirm from a security standpoint that this cannot be exploited. And I think that's part to do with it. So yeah, it sucks that, obviously third party companies are doing it and doing it better, and the features are there. But because, if, like, to your point, if Xbox officially did it, how streamlined it would be, how, achievements and cloud saves and all of that aspect would just be so smooth. And now you kind of got to deal, you're at the mercy of a third party app. It sucks. It sucks. You do want them to do more, but I think it's resources and security.
All right. With that, Cog, let's move into topic number 1 for our news. Pardon me, I thought a burp was coming, but it appears not.
You avoided the burp.
The gastrointestinal system just suppressed all that energy that was about to come out of my mouth. All right. Number 1, Joe Staten's destination is Netflix. He writes on his Twitter account, "So today I am thrilled to announce that I've joined Netflix Games as creative director for a brand new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. Let's go," end quote. Separately, another longtime Halo veteran has left 343. Microsoft confirmed the departure of longtime Halo franchise director Frank O'Connor, who worked on all of the Halo games for 2 decades. They wrote, quote, "We thank Frank for his numerous contributions to the Halo franchise and wish him well going forward," end quote. Let's start out with Joe Staten, right? Sean Santarud writes in, "Hey, Maddie and Cog, first time writing in, and a simple question on your thoughts on Joe Staten joining Netflix Games. Thanks for all your hard work and commitment in creating such a great Xbox show." Thank you, Sean, for tuning in and writing in for the first time. Congrats. 1 for 1, brother.
Yeah. All right.
Cog, Joe left Xbox and he went to Netflix. Not what I expected. Had me in the first half. I was thinking of new IP, Bungie, PlayStation, Netflix.
Yeah.
Curious as to your thoughts, sir. I would rather get you out because I gotta keep myself a little tame for this one, right? I want to be too mean.
You don't be too crazy.
I don't want to get too crazy for this one because I'm happy my man's getting paid.
No doubt. You're gonna have a little extra cheese on this Whopper for sure. There's no question. That bag got to be crazy. Let's just get right to it. That bag got to be crazy because let's be real. Netflix is not known as an established, game maker, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's get that out the way. Second, we talked about how, whether it be through consolidation or through, longevity at a certain situation, people do want to move on, So the cool thing, at least in his departure, it felt mutually positive on both sides. I saw a ton of outpour for Jason Staten on Twitter from Ibarra to Greenberg to, you name it, the who's who of Microsoft were celebratory. So to me, that didn't scream super negative. It seemed like professional, and he's got this opportunity. And then we talked about, hey, you're doing something for so long. This is literally one of the stewards of two of my favorite games in gaming, Halo and Destiny, and the narrative chops and the consulting chops, the technical chops. This guy is an absolute legend in the game. Make no mistake. Selfishly sad he leaves Halo Infinite. We don't know what's going to happen with Halo Infinite narratively in the story of Chief. But, the way Netflix must look at it is like, look, we're trying to make a serious push into this thing. This guy has the chops, and he's probably been itching to do something himself, especially, let's just say, you didn't like how things, I'm just assuming, but let's say you didn't like how things ended with Halo, and you now like, you know what? The Thanos glove, gotta do this myself. You know what I'm saying? Gotta go get, you know what I mean? But when Thanos grabbed that joint, he's gonna go get the Infinity Gems himself, and Staten is ready. So salute to him on that. They're gonna have an uphill battle, no question. Getting into space, but I think this is the thing I will say that people are not seeing though. I get it. People are like, Netflix, he bugging. I get that, but here's the thing too, Manny, is that we do know there's this new thing happening right now, with synergy between
brand synergy
media. Exactly. And let's just say, he creates a great new IP, and there's stories to be told. Guess what platforms he's on? You know what I'm saying? We seen The Witcher out here. We see them all. MCU at one point had stuff out there. We see Cyberpunk Edge Runners out here. We see, Last of Us out here. Even Halo's out here. Regardless of how we feel about it, it did well. So I think that's the other thing, that if we were to talk about controlling your own destiny and then putting on a whiteboard, we're going to do this new IP called blah, 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 and it's going to have the movie or the live action and the anime, and now you're talking, Empire. So we'll see. Am I disappointed that he's not with Xbox? Of course. But for him, he lit. He personally lit. So that's what I had to say about Joe. We'll get it there. But I'm curious, because it seems like your energy is different on this. And I'm very curious about where you at, because you don't seem, a little bubbly about this one. So let's go.
All right, let me start by saying, I'm happy for my man. This guy landed the plane, and good. That's, we thank him for his contributions, as Xbox would say. But
here it comes.
You know what it is, man? It gives me Google Stadia energy. It's like, why are we riding the sinking ship, man? You just come on, Joe. I was so excited at the idea of a little bit of new studio or new first-person shooter IP. Netflix's only studio purchase right now is Night School, right? We got them working with Oxenfree II, and then in comes Joe Staten. I hate to be a dick, but someone's got to fucking make this make sense to me beyond the bag, man, because I don't know what they could be making, but I'm pulling for him. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but this really all hinges on how much Netflix is into video games here. That's if they are in, this is great. This is awesome for them, and this is awesome for the industry. We're seeing Netflix is still going to publish games elsewhere. They're not going to keep it to just their mobile devices. We'll see. But their first game they're publishing is mobile devices on Netflix. It's just I don't know. Maybe he wants something simpler after, Halo Infinite, just to live the easy life, easy day at the office. But in all seriousness, I look at this and I go, man, Stadia energy. This is like Jade Raymond going to Stadia.
Stadia energy, not the Stadia
energy. It just gives me that energy, man. I like Netflix, I do, but I'm not a huge believer in their games initiative. Not because they got this history of bumping in and out, but it just feels like they're riding the hot hand. Great hire for them, though. Great talent analysis, great extraction, and happy for Joe to do something different outside of the Xbox ecosystem. But I'll be curious if his game sees the light of day, truthfully. I hope it does. And I will definitely play it. But, I worry about the Stadia energy here for sure.
No, I respect it. It's funny. It is real. I don't think you're wrong for feeling that way. I want to ask you this, because Maddie's making a game. Y'all, just what y'all know.
No, I didn't say it.
Yeah. I just put it out there. But I just had to ask, Mr. Maddie that's making a game. So let's just throw a hypothetical. What if...
Are you daring to use this against me, sir?
What if Amazon Luna came through?
Oh no.
It was like, yo, Maddie, need that. Seen that. I know Game Pass, Sony and all that, and Nintendo maybe, but this right here. You see the extra zeros on this? We want you to spearhead this on our little gaming division, cloud streaming. You know what I'm saying? I hate the person putting business out there. You don't have to answer, but would you consider it? Or would it be, you know what? Nah, fam, you Luna, I don't care what the bag.
I know people are going to think I'm talking out my ass, but like I definitely wouldn't do it because it just
no Luna energy.
I just would be probably out in a year, and I like working for myself probably because I work best when I work for myself. I don't know how else to put it. Like that's just the type of worker I've been my whole life. Not because it's like self-interest, but just I need to be able to govern my own shit. And if I got like big Amazon overhead here, I'd be like, fuck you guys, I'm out, man. So for me, I don't know if that would ever work out, but as someone making a game, I want to make something that would be played. And I feel like if I were making something and like Google Stadia came along, I'd be like, I have to just respect the effort that the teams put in and go like, yo guys, like I want people to play the thing y'all are making. I don't want to throw it on some fucking dead platform. So if Netflix came along to me, it was like, yo, Maddie, we like what you're making there. I'd be like, that's cool. Thanks. Anyway.
Yo, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, man. But what if we got the One Piece? What's the animes you be doing? Yeah, exactly. What if it's an anime studio and they like, yo, we jumping into games for the first time.
And they want me to spearhead their operation.
We see some potential brand synergy in the future.
They want my game or they want me as the talent leading them?
Let's just say they want both.
Both.
And they have no experience, none. We are blazing a new trail. We here at Niche Anime Games.
Okay.
We here at Niche. We like Mr. Matty Plays and what he represents. Yeah. We want to put him. Bro, you got Donkey out here. Donkey is out here making games. You see this?
Yeah, right? The man probably makes way more than me.
True, but I don't know if you saw, he was on the Nintendo Switch Direct jumping on puddles and rocks. I don't know if y'all saw it. No, shout out to Donkey. Yes, Donkey was in the Nintendo Direct today.
Good for him.
Right? I mean, the indie one. So I was saying, Niche Studios. I know, but the bag is crazy. I'm putting big business out there.
Nah, it's fine. I like, obviously, that's probably part of my future is like, who's going to throw the bag our way when it's publishing time? But I definitely, just based off my experience and who we're talking to, just know it probably won't be in that realm of like Niche or Google or Amazon.
Shout out to
because again, we want to
get you.
We have something we believe in that we think people are going to want to play. So it's like I want to put it where people can play it. Like that's if Niche can come along, if they just want to throw some money my way, then like sure, but. I'm not going to make something exclusively for your platform that has yet to get off the ground. Like, it's like Game Pass, right? Like, I have that 2K energy. I have that 2K Strauss Zelnick energy. Like, okay, let's see.
Oh, you want some Strauss?
Yeah, let's see what you're like. If I was, now I would support Game Pass. But if I was 2017, I'd be on my Strauss Zelnick shit. I'd be like, nah, man, I'm not putting my game in there yet. Prove to me this is a platform worth investing. Oh, it's almost 30 million subscribers, huh? Okay, let's talk. Oh, you're paying people for this too. Oh, let's chat then, shall we? Okay, so that's where I am with it. But Cog, let's shift a little bit here.
Let's shift a little bit.
Matthew Ash writes in, afternoon, new homeowner Maddie and Lord of the Table Cog. First, I want to congratulate Maddie on becoming a new homeowner. Did you guys know I was a new homeowner, by the way? And Cog hitting the big episode 300 with ILP. At first, I thought I was reading the same write-in twice, but I swear these are different ones.
Yeah, because someone wrote like almost in the
That's
same.
That's why I slowed down for a second. I was like, am I fucking up right now?
Duplicate? Yes.
He said, but let's get down to business. With Joe Staten departing weeks ago and now Frank O'Connor leaving, what is the likelihood that 343 will become nothing more than a support studio? Halo Infinite in general dies a slow death with no new content at all, and Microsoft hands the keys to a better studio. This is the place I really wanted the conversation to go. Maybe less pessimistic than Matthew Ash is right in here, but we have seen with Bonnie Ross, Kiki Wolfkill, Frank O'Connor, you put it perfectly when we were DMing about it. The old guard seems to be out. And now we have new blood being injected into 343, new leadership with Pierre Hintz. and a new direction seems to be firmly established now, right? It's like, okay, now even the guy who's overseeing the entire franchise for 20 plus years is out. To me, that was the bigger news than Staten's exit. It's like, another major overhead who is seen after the Halo franchise for a stupid long time is gone. So I'm wondering, do you share Matthew Ash's view of, with Frank O'Connor out, now the support studio and Halo Infinite will die a slow death, and Microsoft will then, as they wither away, pluck the IP from the corpse and hand it over to id? What do you think, sir?
This is a good one, man. And I'm conflicted on some level because I think the community is a little mad with me right now because I said some comments on Duke last week about
mad at you. That's impossible.
Oh yeah, they bro, they big mad with me. But
let's hear. I'm surprised.
They big mad with me because I like to be balanced with my thoughts. And on one end, the community is very visceral when it comes to underperforming titles, broken titles, disappointments, bad launches. And we have to be honest, right? Halo Infinite kind of fell in that pocket during various courses of the development, right? We was CP, we was PC, excuse me, post Craig. You know what I'm saying? We had that going on. And we had the delays and stuff like that, right? And I remember, Maddie, and this is why, again, I have to be fair to both the community and the developer, because I remember what the hell is going on over there, right? They need to be removed. This is an embarrassment. I remember those type of talks, from the community. And I also remember, in fairness to the community, though, the deliverable of promises and things of that nature. So again, I have to be fair on both sides. So to me, the community is getting what they want right now for that loud, whether it was loud minority or whatever. That group is being pacified. They're taking care of that group right now. There definitely seems to be a regime change. We cannot sugarcoat this. Frank O'Connor is literally the owner of the Halo Bible. Anything narratively, anything canon-wise, they had to go through Frank. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a good conversation with Ryan, the original Duke, shout out Ryan McCaffrey, about Frank O'Connor came from the OXM days, right? He kind of just wrote some stuff and got picked up by Bungie to become a community manager. Like, that's how his story. And then he became this huge, force with Halo. So he's been there very long, right? So here's the thing. I got one and two mindsets. I got two different mindsets here. One mindset is that we have to be honest about Halo Infinite, right? And how things went, right? And how 3.4 has been operating, right? And the negative stuff that's come out of that. We got to be honest about that, right? So there's one train of thought that's like, yo, that old regime stuff maybe not working, right? And maybe it's time for fresh voices and fresh blood, And maybe Pierre and the team is that. We do know that he's the one responsible for turning Halo Master Chief Collection completely around. Yeah. We got to give him that, right? Yeah. So you got that. Then it's the second aspect where I got to be honest too, where I'm conflicted, where yes, you're getting rid of these people, right? And doing this new change. My concern is when you marketed Halo Infinite to me, you said Infinite, like there's going to be the continued journey of Master Chief. Like, we won't need another Halo for a long time because this is live service. So now, to me, it behooves them to get in front and say, hey, at some point, whether it be at the new E3 show, this is what we got for Halo moving forward. You got to give the community, because the community does see these exits, right? And the community wants to know, is Halo Infinite just going to be smallish narrative, side story, multiplayer updates, or is it going to be the substantial thing? Or are you going on to Halo 7 or whatever it is, right? The community needs to know that. You just can't put out a one tweet saying, we are still the surveyors of the franchise, and that's it. Like, remember, somebody said it felt like a threat? Mm-hmm. Remember when all the firing? Yeah, remember Chris? I shout out to Chris Rager. Chris was like, yo, that felt like a threat. Like, you ain't letting go, even though some people didn't want you to have the franchise no more. Yeah. So I get it. Just clarity moving forward. So to this, as far as Halo Infinite? I don't know. They need to make a statement at some point, though, and give clarity for what they feel the future is, and hopefully they do that. But make no mistake, let's just say Frank was a problem or not a problem, right? I'm never going to discount someone with that level of experience and literally the owner of the Halo Bible. They're going to feel it on some level. The key is, do they have things in place for this new era of 343? And I'm pulling for them. Let's see what happens. You know, it's been a rough go for this studio, so we'll see.
Absolutely, yeah. I am excited for the new blood, but I'm curious as to your thoughts on this, Cog, because I was thinking about when you're getting rid of the old blood, in with the new, that's good, right? But I guess this goes to the hypothetical ultimately of like what happens if 343 screws up. But if you're going through all of this overhauling of the Halo home, then what's the difference between that, which is reinventing a studio, or maybe in some degree retooling it, perhaps in fairness, but we'll say reinventing, and handing the IP to someone else, right? You get what I'm saying by that? Like, you're handing it to a different set of talent, just the difference is they're under the same house. So why does it have to be 343 if that was the plan ultimately and you weren't going to rock with that team? Because my theory has always been just not to get away from Halo because they're bad or whatever, because like a lot of their gameplay experiences are competent. Like, I've always been team separate from the Bungie pressure for a game. Let's restore the faith. Even if, by the way, the small Xbox Game Studios project approach that we've been seeing, let them make a Pentiment or something, just something different and small to get them out of the funk, right? It's like your 3-point shot is off and you're still popping threes all game. It's like, work on the layup, work on your inside the box game. Little bit of that, right? Instead of just constantly putting up threes is how I'm looking at it. But I'm curious, do you agree with this mindset? Do you feel like they're kind of just almost retooling the studio to the point where they may as well have handed the IP elsewhere, at least for a game?
I think it comes down to money and resources, because here's the thing. As much as, you're making a great point. It's like, yo, you just revamping and bringing new people. Why don't you just get a studio that's already in house to do it, the keys? And I get that. I think that's a valid, argument to that. I just think from the business standpoint, they must be saying to themselves, this franchise makes way too much money. We expected a huge influx of money with Halo Infinite. It did not reach that target, right? Now, let's just say, again, I don't know, I'm just speculating, just out of fairness. Let's just say that the people who are being removed or leaving may have contentious relationships inside by the actual people putting in the work. So let's just say there's genuine unhappiness with leadership, right? So what if this is an example of Microsoft saying, okay, this is where we're going. We know the three names that we're going, Bonnie, Frank, and whoever, right? And let's just say, like, we are now all the way in. Let's just say remember, we always be like, the hands off. How did this happen to Halo? We always would do many defining dukes. How could this happen, right? So let's just say, what you call it, internal affairs. Remember when they bring internal affairs in for the cops? And they, cops don't like internal affairs. When they come in, they like, damn internal affairs. They all in our business, looking at all our reports. Yeah. Let's just say internal affairs is in now. And now they like, well, based on the feedback we saw by the contractors or whomever that's still there, we've identified these things as problems, and now we're making shifts. And then they give dudes the option to stay, leave, whatever, and dudes make their decision. Again, I'm speculating. There's no inside information. Please do not sloth me, sloth. I know you be listening. I love you, but these things do. These conversations do happen, and maybe as part of that regime change, maybe people. What if somebody's like, "Yo, we really like what Pierre doing." You know what I'm saying? Pierre was the one that really helped us through. He listened to us, our struggle, our pain, right? Because we did hear people speaking out. Remember?
Yeah, the studio was reportedly split down the middle, pretty much. So the changes and the layoffs were almost inevitable. Not that we were rooting for them, like some would misinterpret, but they were inevitable that there was going to be a change and a definitive direction to go in at some point in the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this could be an example of Microsoft taking that feedback, making the changes. Now it's just going to be up on them for Pierre and that team to execute, because the old regime be like, oh yeah, we the problem. You didn't want to see, right? Right. So we're going to learn about it. But to your point, to your direct question as to why they do this as opposed to bringing somebody else, I just think it's money and familiarity. Because by the time you get someone up to speed, they like, yo, we could do this in-house with people that already have the knowledge. And then the other thing, now where I'm with you though, all the way, I still want other people to do things in this universe. There's no excuse why we don't have, and like I said, we've had Ray Gun on before, there should be the spin-off games. Give them a break to do what they're going to do. Where the spin-offs at? Where's the Locke story? Where's this story? Where, like, this, what happens to Atriox? Like, there's stories. Like, come on. Like, that's the thing. We shouldn't have to always wait for 343 to get it together every 4, 5, 6 years for the next thing. And that this game is too important to the DNA and culture of Xbox not to be fully expanded.
Yeah.
That's where I will ride with you to the end, and I want other people to get a chance.
I worry for them, and some will call it like a way too ahead of the game worry, but I do worry if like the next one from them isn't well received or disastrous, because then it's going to be that, now what? We just changed everything. You dropped the ball, and now we're going to end up doing what people were telling us to do 4, 5, 6 years ago. And I guess tough shit, 343. And I don't want it to end up being that, which is why, like, it's so important for this team to get away from Halo for a game. Like, I will die on that sword. Like, I think it is, I don't care if they're injecting new blood who's excited to get on Halo. I think it is so important to establish that this team is capable of making games beyond Halo. I think they need to show the world that, only for themselves more than anything, man. Let them do that Pentiment level. Yeah, you know what? We value you. We want to keep you around. We want to keep you happy, Josh Sawyer. We know this game's not going to make much money. Not me saying that as a dick, like Josh Sawyer said it himself. Go ahead. Go make your passion project. Mm-hmm. I think they should afford 343 one of those. And I know it'll kind of become the who's next in line for that. But we see with what's going on with Xbox and Obsidian, how that can pay off. And I think we as fans are going to reap the benefits when Avowed comes around, when the Outer Worlds 2 comes around, because we have a creatively rejuvenated Obsidian who's not just making RPGs, and they've shown people we can make different games. I just can't help but shake the feeling that we talk and joke about Xbox mismanagement, but if this team ain't working on something outside of Halo, I will go hard on that one and say that is mismanaged talent, because you have put them in a position where they got to make Halo. The fans don't like it, to the point where Chris aptly put it felt like a threat when they said we are sticking with it, or when they made the announcement, there wasn't that huzzah. It was that, okay, here we go again. You got to protect them, man. They're too good. They're too good at what they do to constantly be roped out every 5 years and lashed by fans. And yeah, it's their own doing, but you got to put them as the managers of those talents in a spot to succeed. And Halo's popular enough where you can outsource, like you did with your big franchise Minecraft that just had a new spinoff come out this week. It's popular enough where I'm sure studios would fucking line up for this shit, man. And who knows? Maybe what is the name of the studio who's doing the Battle Royale game?
Certain Affinity.
Thank you. Maybe what they're working on ends up being more than we expected. It ends up being that spin-off style game. Maybe it's not just Battle Royale. I don't know. I'm just spitting ideas out there. But whether it's 343 doing something different or someone else doing something within the franchise different, create some space for this team. Let them get away, right? Time is the ultimate healer, as we say, for everything in life. And I don't mean to get deep into the psychology of it, but truly,
I love it.
This team needs to heal a little bit. They cannot keep taking the beat downs, nor should they. So you got to manage them in a space where the pressure's off. And yeah, if another Halo game comes out that is good, that's not 343, they will expect to hear a little bit of that. That's funny. That's not 343 who put that one out, is it? That's going to come with the territory, but that should only motivate them eventually, once you get away from that damage, that trauma, to kind of get in that spot of, oh, you think we're not suited for this? Or what? Just you wait. Just just my 2 cents on it, man. I know some people are tired of us dogging on 343. So there's your happy, hopeful speech where I truly think 343 should be at. Xbox hire me.
A lot of valid points.
Fund my game.
Fund my game, Xbox.
Number 2, this one, by the way, sorry, is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I just think that you have a great counterpoint. I don't really have too much to add. I like where you're going with it. I don't really have too much to disagree with. I see the mindset. I've always said I would love to see them free of this baby that's not their child, right? They're the adopted parent.
Yeah, they can keep working on it. I should just mention that. I want them to keep working on it because they're going to have to, but just
absolutely
2 at once.
Yeah, absolutely. The same way, the way you feel about that is the same way I feel about Coalition on some level, because it's like there's a part of me that's like, you guys are known just to be the Gears guys. And I was hoping we did. Remember when the rumors alluded to that there could be a new IP between? And then when we heard that was not the case, it's like, damn. So there's a part of me that wants to see what they can do when they're free from the albatross of Cliff Blazinski's games, right? Because again, a lot of them, it's inheritance, right? Yeah. We understand that those are the core pillar franchises, but I like your thought process is you can't allow them to make something new in between releases and help us miss something a little bit, right?
I mean, you got me thinking a little bit more. It's just, someone could call this out. I'm curious if anything will come off the top of your head, but it's like, if PlayStation's to be done with Uncharted, I think Bend made Golden Abyss, I want to say. But otherwise, it's not like when Uncharted stops, it's not like they say like, okay, well, once it's done, like Naughty Dog is done with it, who are we going to give this to? At least I wouldn't think so. Based off what they've shown us as they've moved into The Last of Us and now Factions.
Right.
That series should die with that studio, if you will, is how I look at it as I see what Xbox is doing, where, instead of evolving after the phenomenal Gears 3 and saying like, okay, what does the Coalition want to do? They're like, no, you're just going to keep carrying this torch forward. It seems like almost the easy win. Easy win.
Money prints, man, it's hard to walk away from.
If only they just put out more financials, they could just easily sell so many more things. It really could. Just to know, how much did Gears sell? How much does Halo truly sell? I know we got revenue generated for the franchise, but like, how much did Infinite make you? Like, what can we learn from that? We just don't get that data, so we're just kind of in the dark sometimes.
I agree.
Number 2. This one I'm very excited to get your thoughts on. I'm surprised you didn't show up with a different shirt for this topic. This seemed like your topic of the show. Sega is acquiring the company behind Angry Birds Mobile for $776 million. In a joint statement, Sega Sammy said it had based its bid on projections that the global gaming market would expand to $263.3 billion by 2026. In particular, it said the share of mobile gaming would grow to 56% of the overall market. Analysts said that Sega Sammy's bid for Rovio was driven by its ambition to build a super game along the lines of Fortnite or Minecraft that create large global communities of gamers. Mark Vuokolo writes in, "Hey Dukes, with Sega set to acquire Rovio, the company behind Angry Birds, how do y'all feel or think that affects a possible acquisition of Sega by Microsoft? Would there be a future where Microsoft could possibly not just own ABK, but also Sega and Rovio? With the company behind Candy Crush and the company behind Angry Birds, Microsoft would have a pretty good entry in the mobile games market." And I just, Lord Sega, Lord Acquisition. Like, I know the topic is about what Sega purchased, and we will get to that. But this has been on both of our radars, if you will, our shopping lists after ABK. And I feel like, depending on your perspective, it could only enforce your argument or detract from it. So I'm just curious where my man stands on this.
Very interesting. I was like, okay, Sega, all right, So to me, I looked at it as Sega's resurgence lately, financially. Once they starting to, you're seeing Persona series, seeing Yakuza's on the up, Sonic is on the up, like everything seems to be Football Manager's outside. Shout out to Football Manager. I know we joking, but the numbers say what the numbers say. I was shocked.
I think it's what didn't the numbers say it's like their most popular series or something.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
wow, where
wild,
have I
man.
been? Yeah, it goes to show you we live in these little bubbles in the West sometimes, and we don't see what's going on, right? So it's like, yeah, so this shows me, yo, they are trending upward. They are really feeling good about themselves financially. Now you're acquiring things, right? So look, we do know mobile, as much as hardcore gamers hate to hear this, mobile is on the up. Mobile is the future. The way people are projecting, is where you need to have a piece of the pie. And we see Microsoft aggressively, state time and time again that a big part of that acquisition, yes, Call of Duty, we know, but King is definitely something that is on the radar. They don't have a footprint there. They want that revenue. Sega to me seems bigger. Now to the question, yeah, I don't think this acquisition of Rovio precludes them from being acquired from Microsoft. I think that it's one of those things that makes it even sexier. Yeah, like it's just
yeah,
you're doing that.
I think so too.
Wow,
so we're on the same page on this one. Okay.
Oh, we like that too, Sega. Like, wow, that's so cool.
I think if anything, it increases the opportunity for Xbox to start knocking on that door and seeing what they can get from it.
Shout out to the great Hogue Lord. Like Hogue said, like, they are going to be acquiring more, and I specifically use names like Sega, and I'm like, wouldn't it look bad though? Like they just came off ABK to be. He was like, it's all about the evaluation and that money, right? It's all about how much the value is, and ABK is just this astronomical thing from a scale standpoint.
It's gonna look like pennies in comparison if they were ever to do that.
Why do you think no one's really jumping out the window on Sony with the Bungie acquisition? It's still 300 whatever million, right? But when you look at the scale, right, that's when they go, oh my God, we got to look at that. So you could acquire Sega for your millies or whatever it is that you go acquire them. That's going to be less than ABK, and there's not going to be a big stink. But I am with you. I think this makes Sega even more attractive to Microsoft if they were on the radar. You synergize that with King and now Rovio and then Sega's IP and then there's Sega's love of the cloud. We know, again, organic growth. Sega has been there from the beginning. Dreamcast had Windows CE in them. So again, all these people hating on that, when COG talks about acquisition, they just going out there. There is organic growth with these two.
This is like, I think, PlayStation Insomniac to a degree. Maybe a little extreme, but to a degree.
But even deeper, bro. Like the Sega games, Peter Moore made it very clear. You know what I'm saying? Like he's such a he clearly participated in console wars. I love Peter. Peter was outside. He was like, yo, I hated them. They killed my Sega.
Mm-hmm.
He his main goal. That's why he's one of my favorites because of what he did at 360. Was just like, no, we have to take this brand to the next level. We're gonna be aggressive. We're gonna do all these things. So Sega. Great, oh, Peter Moore is amazing. That's a bucket list interview. I would love for us to talk to Peter. Yeah. Like Peter is just like, he's excellent. But I think this is an organic situation for years, and I could totally see it. But yeah, this hypes things up as far as Microsoft's interest, as far as I can say.
Yeah, what is Peter Moore up to? Because this guy went from video games to the CEO of Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, Liverpool. Yeah, shout out to Liverpool.
Yeah, he says SVP GM of Sports Entertainment at Unity Technologies. So
yeah, he's kind of into tech now again. Now he's kind of
whatever the fuck he wants. It's crazy,
bro. He was president. He was EA. He at one point he was the one. People forget Microsoft didn't have EA games for a while. He was the one to kind of help facilitate that with his relationships. He's done a lot in the industry, man.
Yeah, man.
Tremendous.
But I'm with you. I think when you look at Sega, number one, I think this is a response to them kind of close those doors for the arcades. And this is how they're going to make their money instead. They've recognized that, this is kind of like the dying breed, if you will. And so we're going to go and focus on mobile gaming. And so they go and get this company that, well, some people are like, well, Angry Birds is not as popular now. You put fucking Sonic in a Angry Bird style game and it's game over.
Oh, yeah. Yo, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is 100% a Sonic move. If you like, I will guarantee that's the first thing they go like, here you go, Sonic, go do it. They're not going to put like Persona or Jet Set Radio in there. They're already got Persona 5X out in China and fans want it in the West now. So I think Sega is going to be inclined to bring it in there. Sega is so fascinating to watch because they own all these companies like Atlas, who are continuously fascinated by what people want from them. that make them stupid money. They port Persona 4 Gold. It sells 1 million copies. They go, wow, I think we're going to actually port. They literally said, they're like, yeah, we're thinking about porting more that did way better than we thought it did. I'm like, you didn't think it would do that well? Persona 4 Golden on PC, you thought it wasn't going to sell like hotcakes? So they're learning slowly but steadily, but I think this is a move for Sonic, but no doubt they know it increases their value if they were to be purchased. No doubt that if you're Xbox, we got to pay attention to something. You know, we get a write-in very frequently, I see on our Patreon when I'm putting together the show, and it's always people asking me like, what backwards compatible Xbox games do you think would come to Game Pass? You know, are they going to reactivate and put Singularity and Prototype in there? I'm like, yeah, that's all fun and good, and I hope they do that. But what we're really hearing Xbox talk about, if we're honest with ourselves, is they talk about Blizzard and they talk about mobile games. And I fucking hate it, but that's really what's happening here. And we're starting to learn more and more as they even divert from the conversation of Call of Duty, and they're just kind of moving it to the side, right? And they're focusing on this more and more. You know, I think this, if they see Sega, they have that organic partnership there. They got the super team partnership that we talked about, which Sega went, that's not going to lead to exclusive games, but that partnership is there. They're using the Azure tech. They're big supporters of Game Pass. 2 Point games were there. Yakuza games were there. Persona's now there. You know, they seem to love what Xbox is doing. Xbox loves what they're doing. So make no mistake, if they got to the negotiation table, this is probably a major deciding factor. As much as Xbox wants to grow in Japan because we want it to grow in Japan, this would be the thing that makes them money. This would be the thing that would grow their revenue and their floor higher than any JRPG they get. That would be the bonus to us. Much like it's the bonus for us with Activision Blizzard King to get, I'll use Prototype as an example, potential revival of Singularity, Tony Hawk remasters back on the table again. It's all possible. But for Xbox, they're looking at Blizzard and they're looking at King with that Candy Crush cash and going, that's what we're here for. That's going to raise our revenue. And the rest, well, that's cool. What can we do with all these new toys? We'll figure something out, I guess, eventually. That is why this acquisition is actually important by Sega, because
I agree.
We definitely here at Defining Duke believe that this is one that will come to fruition, Xbox and Sega. And I think this kind of starts, I don't want to get extreme and say locks it in, but what I mean by that is it makes the idea much more believable because it lines up with Xbox's true targets, which are unfortunately mobile games. But if they do get Sega, we know what they get with it. So we should actually be cheering this one. If you're looking for that ultimate result of Xbox and Sega, this again aligns their goals ever so closely, where we already know Sega likes what Xbox has to offer them. And now Sega's got something beyond popular IP, which they already have in Activision, that they can too offer to Xbox. So very, very keen to see where this all ends up. And what that super game is going to be, by the way.
Yes.
Because I hope when they reveal it, they tell us it's the super game. Because I don't want it to be revealed. It comes out, and then years later, they're like, yeah, that was the super game, by the way. That was our super game, man. Anyway. Oh, this one's exciting. Number 3. If the LinkedIn of a former game designer at InXile is to be believed, then we may very well have confirmation of the team working on a known IP for a second game. According to the profile of George E. Williams IV, who was contracted as a game designer from October 2021 to June 2022, his experience at InXile is described as, quote, I provided research and setting development for an upcoming video game, established IP, project still under NDA, end quote. Since then, he has updated his LinkedIn and removed any mention of the established IP. This is significant because as prior rumors surrounding InXile's next project were described as a steampunk first-person shooter RPG made in Unreal Engine 5, going by the name of Project Cobalt, which is believed to be a brand new IP. In Jez Corden's report on the game 2 years ago, he said to, quote, expect steam engines, zeppelins, retro future robots, dark Victorian era streets, and more, end quote. If this LinkedIn proves to be accurate, Project Cobalt is not the established IP, and a second project is in development at InXile. Now, Cog, you, me, and Jez share a little chat, and so I followed up with our man. I was like, yo, is this Cobalt or what's going on here? And he believes it's something made in the Wasteland engine. His speculation, by the way, not report. He also said in that report, by the way, from 2 years ago that Cobalt would be 2023, but then he said that the project expanded in scope and it's going to come out later, whenever that is, we don't know. But it looks like COG, another game in development at InXile, man, and an established IP. Ho, ho, ho. That's Santa Claus coming to deliver me a mighty nice gift in the form of maybe a tactical Fallout game. That was my first thought when I saw this. I can't lie. Now, it could be anything, but man, if you really want to believe the stars do align here, right? I don't need to run down the Xbox management and the talent they got with Todd and Brian Fargo, the father of Fallout, all that stuff. We know that. But here's my new theory. Here's my copium theory.
Let's go.
Everyone tune in for the copium theory.
Let me gather it.
Yeah. So here's how I look at it. Well, if you put a gun to my head, you went, Matty, Fallout remasters or a Fallout spinoff that's very much a large departure from what the current franchise is, which would happen first? I would actually say the spinoffs would, because while the remasters are light work in comparison, I believe personally that the trouble for them right now is maybe finding a studio to outsource it to and getting the job done, and probably what they want to do with it. Do you want to leave the shooting as is? Do you want to upgrade it to Fallout 4 shooting? Does that change the dynamic of the game? Does that invalidate the role-playing mechanics? Do we just want to have a simple port? Are we going to bring this to PlayStation? I think there's a lot of questions they got to answer with that, but I have no doubt they'll eventually do it. I think it's maybe a timing thing too, with the Fallout show. When's the gap? But a spinoff that, if you're InXile and you show them the Wasteland engine and we go, yeah, we'd make a Fallout game kind of like this, and they point at Wasteland 3. And if you're Bethesda, I'm assuming, but if you're Bethesda, I imagine if you have a very specific vision for what Fallout can be, which is, hey, once we started with Fallout 3, it will always and forever be this third/first person game, open world RPG, exploration focused. I think of it almost like Gears and Gears Tactics, right? You know what Gears of War is going to be, right? Third person shooter, cover based. And then Tactics comes along. It's this shakeup from a different team, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think of it like this with InXile potentially working on what was a game already, Fallout Tactics, but some type of overhaul on that, a Fallout spinoff that is tactics based in the Wasteland engine. You know, when you look at the Wasteland gave birth to Fallout, I think that's the sales pitch is all you need. That's literally all you need to say. Not because of like, look, we got this, but because the series gave birth to it, a lot of those inspirations and things people really love about Wasteland, about Fallout, are already in Wasteland. So there's not much of this learning curve on writing, on approach, on the spirit of the game. Obviously, the assets are there. You have a ton of post-apocalyptic assets. Like, I do think this would be a dream pick, right? Of course, InXile doing a spin-off Fallout game. So don't get me wrong, but I just feel like this, if you believe enough in what's there and what we've seen, that the stars do align, where I could see us getting something like this before any type of hypothetical remaster. But I'm curious what you think, because of course we're seeing Xbox Game Studios experiment a lot. We know Cobalt's going to be this very different style game when you see Wasteland 2, 3, Bard's Tale, and then you hear their next game's Unreal Engine 5, first-person shooter, steampunk world. So they're doing something else. It's an established IP that we're aware of. Is it more from Wasteland? Is it a Fallout game? Is it a Pentiment style game, a grounded style game? What do you think it is here, Cog? Are you on Team Fallout or no?
I'm torn, because we know the rumors about, a potential Fallout game being made, maybe, right? There's talk. The scuttlebutt is like, Obsidian is outside talking, right? Is InXile talking? Now, InXile to me is in a unique situation, because they are like literally the parent, right? But the parent with the game was completely different. It was like, like you said, it was a complete, almost a different genre before it went to the third person thing. I don't know. I don't know them well enough to know. I guess my concern with them is, do they want to? Because see, Obsidian has said, no, we want to, publicly. So the vibe, again, unless I'm wrong, I have no inside information. The vibe I feel, maybe InXile's like, nah, we did that. Like we got some stuff. We want to show you why we think we created Fallout, by the way, right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm thinking, if I'm InXile and I'm going in the pitch room, I'm in the boardroom, right? And it's like, you need to rock with us, because not only we made one of the greatest, tactical gameplay games with Wasteland in that universe, here's this slideshow of Cobalt, right? They like, yo, we could do this third person steampunk. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, whatever they showed Microsoft impressed Microsoft to get them a bag and got signed.
Yeah.
So they demo tape is lit. Like you gotta have a demo tape for Microsoft to be like, okay, because they're not super big, right? But they're respected. That's how I look at InXile. They respect it. They have an air about them, and they just haven't had the bag to be like, okay, we could do things on a big level. So as far as the second IP established, I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't get mad, Manny. I don't know why Wasteland keep coming back in my head.
That's fine, bro. I love Wasteland. So
okay,
yeah. No. I'm not Fallout purist in that regard, bro. No, Wasteland's great. Wasteland 3 is a game I think's too slept on. Like when we talk about because it falls in that pocket of Psychonauts 2, where it's not an Xbox exclusive, but it came out in that window where InXile is a first party studio.
Right.
And I just feel like it would have been driven to that next level of excitement if people knew it was exclusive, but y'all don't sleep on that game, man. Do not sleep on that game.
To me, you like, okay, now this is what we would have done if Wasteland was developed from start to finish resource. Because we know Microsoft helped out towards the end and helped them with voice talent, you know what I'm saying? Because they pockets, you know what I'm saying? They check was, was a little tight back then. They check to check energy back then. Let's keep it a buck. Yeah. But they got it through. They so talented. They got it through Microsoft. Hey, we got you, man. We're going to send you that little wire on them little voice actors. You good, bro. You know what I'm saying? But
wait, was that might have been Psychonauts 2. I'm curious. I think they helped InXile as well, but that was Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, they helped InXile. I remember I covered Wasteland 3 at a PAX East first. And I remember them were like the company that was kind of controlling their PR at the time was different. And it was like, look, we can't talk too much because now Microsoft owns it now. But they were mentioning stuff like this, about how, they needed some help to get things over the finish line.
Sorry, I must have misremembered.
No, you're good. So, I think selfishly, you talk about a lot of turn-based here, and they did co-op turn-based. Me and Attic had so good. Me and Attic had some fun streams that we need to go back to where we're playing Wasteland 3 together and having a ball. You telling Lord, they're my turn-based studio. They're my baby Firaxis, you know what I'm saying, already in the crib. So whatever they want to do, if you want to make a steampunk joint, then you want to make a sequel to your established IP, by all means. But if you want to do Fallout, I ain't mad at you either. Do what you want. To me, they are one of the most slept on acquisitions outside of them and maybe Compulsion. But because they got the track record. The difference between them and Compulsion, they have the track record of some great games. It just they get the light they supposed to get. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like it, InXile. So
yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm for it.
Damn, I'm very excited for that, the future of that team, because I think Cobalt, if we look at the concept art for it, very, very cool looking setting. And I know it's just concept art, but if they capture even a smidge of that, the snow-covered streets, the Victorian-like, oh my God, bro. So cool looking. But if you have that, I just think of it almost like Avowed and then bigger than a Pentiment, but like Avowed and a Grounded is what I think they're kind of doing in terms of scale.
Gotcha.
And so whatever that ends up being, man, if it's Fallout.
Oh, that'd be crazy. That would be the announcement. That would shake things up for sure.
I think that's a head turner type of announcement. And Xbox definitely needs those. So
I ain't mad at it.
All right, let's talk about what's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass and what is leaving Xbox Game Pass soon. And then we'll get into our pick of the week. What's coming to Xbox Game Pass is on April 20th, you get Coffee Talk Episode 2 on console, PC, and cloud, and Medieval Dynasty on Xbox One. Meanwhile, Homestead Arcana, which was shown off during the ID at Xbox Showcase the other week, is coming to Game Pass Day 1, Series X and S, as well as PC and cloud. Cassette Beast is coming out on PC Game Pass. Cog, I think you'd really like that game, by the way. You should give it a look.
Yeah.
And then that is April 26th. And then April 27th is Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle Special Edition, console, PC, cloud. That game is pretty good, so I recommend checking that one out. And then The Last Case of Benedict Fox, same day, console and PC Game Pass, April 27th. And then, of course, we already know this one. Looks like it's locked in May 2nd. Redfall, Series X and S at 30 FPS, PC and cloud Game Pass. Meanwhile, leaving Game Pass all on April 30th. So if you want to play any of these games, you got some time left, but get to it. Bugsnax leaves console, PC, and cloud. Destroy All Humans leaves console, PC, and cloud. Square Enix, man, they're pulling out of the battlefield. Dragon Quest Builders 2. If y'all didn't play that game when I was telling y'all to, I'm going to be upset with you. Console, PC, and cloud, they're leaving Game Pass the 30th of April, as well as Tetris Effect Connected, console, PC, and then Unsold is leaving console, PC, cloud. Cog, any exits, any additions that are catching your eye here?
Of course, Benedict. Got to see that. On the 27th, I'm pulling for them. Hopefully they land the plane there, see if the whole game, the whole experience is worth, the excitement that I had. And of course, Arcane. This is a lot to talk about with this game. I got some platforms I may be playing on it first.
Yeah.
Because they may be nudging me around, release where to play it first. I have the capable devices to do the frames I need. But there's a part of me though that does want to launch it just to see, you know what I'm saying? Or the
yeah, we gotta test that.
There's
shit
a part
out.
of it just for the comparative standpoint. But yeah, that's it. As far as the leaving, the Square Enix trends continue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even noticing that. And Destroy All Humans. That's a good one. So that's all I got on that. Those are the two for me. What about for you?
Yeah, obviously Redfall at the top of the list here. Like just after everything that they've gone through and finally releasing, just even our conversations here, is it going to be the Maddie style Arcane game? That's the real focus here. I am very interested to see how this all ends up, right? I'm pulling for them to just have a winner here. Like I've always said, I just want them to have a winner here. And if it ends up me looking foolish at the end, I don't care. I want them to win. Like I'm here for the health of Arcane and Redfall. Question really is what is next for them, but let's have that conversation. I imagine probably the week of when someone writes it in on our Patreon, like, hey, I know the game just came out, but what do you think they're going to do next? It'll be anybody's guess, but very curious to see how Redfall does. Very excited to play it and get in because the preview did help encourage me a bit on addressing some of those Maddie desires. Cassette Beast, though, I've had the time. I'd be all over this one, but I'm very busy with the reviews. But this kind of monster fusing game looks awesome. Turn-based RPG, pixel art, just my type of jam. Same thing with Last Case of Benedict Fox. But really what has my attention, it's not on this list, but it's a little bit after Redfall, is Ravenlock. That's the one I really...
Oh, yes. That looks good.
Amazing.
That looked good.
Amazing. So that's why I'm probably going to have to use like Benedict Fox business decision so that Ravenlock can come on in, see what it's got.
I feel that.
Sad to see Dragon Quest Builders 2 leave, though. That game is awesome, but it's been there for a while, so likely just expired deal here. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we get into our Game Pass pick of the week. Yeah, you like this selection here, sir? Yeah. xCloud does wonders, doesn't it? And for all the jokes we make. Soul Hackers 2, ladies and gentlemen. Soul Hackers 2. So I beat, what was the game I beat? I finished one. I had about an hour left before bedtime. And this was 2 weeks ago. And I was thinking, all right, I just want to kill some time. Like I want to keep playing games. I don't want to do anything too crazy here. I'll start a new game. I'll finally see. I want to see what Soul Hackers 2 is all about finally. So I fired up on xCloud via my Series X. Like I didn't do it off the phone or mobile or anything like that. First of all, really good experience. It's first time I've done that because I'll just usually install it, walk away, get food or whatever, and I'll come back and then it'll be there. But yeah, first time trying it here on Series X cloud streaming and worked great. Looked great. At times, I was actually streaming it to my Discord server for my friends, and they were like, "Oh, you're streaming this?" I couldn't even tell. So good sign for Xbox there. But yeah, Soul Hackers 2, man. First off, I got to say, I'm very surprised by the amount of investment to the narrative setup here. A lot of time with exposition that I think could have been broken up and done in a healthier manner. Like to me, dialogue count is fine. Like, you can pound me with dialogue all you want, baby.
That's going to be quoted.
That is going to be quoted. You can do it all you want, but you got to break it up with gameplay moments, because then it's digestible for the player. You know, like we actually learned this with some of our testing. I'm sorry, I got to say it. We learned this from some of our testing with our own game. You know, as the writer, you know, we're going through and I'm making this fucking chonker of a script, right? Mm-hmm. And we go through a playtest session, and very harsh criticism was like, yo, it's good, but dude, bring a pair of scissors, cut it short. Like, we need to rearrange where this is. The content's not bad, but it's too much at once. It's like, all right, got you. Okay. So we start rearranging, and the flow is so much better now. It's like, not even just in comparison, but just, oh, this feels like a better video game because of it. So that feedback is valuable. And I think sometimes writers don't get that, because it's hard to hear. Like, when you hear that, you're like, damn, if only it was good, then they wouldn't have cared. But you realize, like, you can have the best, most eloquent writing in the world. Doesn't matter. You got to break it up a little bit. And so this game fails to do that, but its world is so interesting that I don't care. Because Soul Hackers 2, the idea is you're pretty much going into as the name would suggest, the soul of someone and hacking them. So you find this main character alive. By the way, game has a lot more blood than I thought. Like, you find one of the main characters dead on the ground. And it turns out there's this brewing apocalypse, and that if these two people die, it's on. So you're trying to stop the end of the world, and you find the dude who you're looking to keep alive, and it's, oh, yo, he's dead. He's dead. And so you have to hack his soul, bring him back to life. And so there's just a ton of dialogue early on. And then combat picks up. And I really like the idea of, as you're targeting the weaknesses and knocking him down, it's got that Persona kind of one more mechanic set. For those who don't know, who haven't played Persona, when you hit an enemy, let's say they're weak with fire, you hit them with fire and they drop, you get one more turn with that same character. Yes. So, you know, it's a good flow. It's a good set of feedback there. But what happens is then when you knock them all down, I forgot the name of the mechanic right now off the top of my head, but when you knock them all down, you can hit all of them at once. And it's just really cool how they meld elements of Persona and SMT into this series that existed 20 years ago, but it feels very new to me. So I'm like, oh, that's cool seeing the things I love injected into this new sci-fi focused world. That's the other thing I really liked about it is a lot of JRPGs are medieval, modern even, but most times medieval. And I never understood why there was such a fixation with that. I was like, why don't we go to the future, man? Like Live Alive kind of did it. They have these 8 stories, and one of them is called Future. And it was so cool. Like, it was very gameplay free. It was more like eerie and tension filled, but it was awesome, man. And I wish more JRPGs did that, and this game does. And so I appreciate it for that. So I can see where people immediately had the hiccups early on and were like, yeah, not really going to stick with this one, because the dialogue is long in the tooth for sure. But cool female lead, fully voiced for the most part.
Nice.
Yeah, I think, you know, once I get a moment, it's Midnight Suns, and I think I'm coming back to this one. But I wanted to put it on people. Yeah, I got to honor that promise, man. I got to get to Midnight Suns.
You good, bro. You reviewing tons.
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't want to just be starting up random stuff that's not like content driven. I want to make sure I honor that. And, you know, because who knows, it could end up on my game of the year list if I end up really liking it too. But yeah, I just wanted to put Soul Hackers 2 as my Game Pass pick of the week, because as I was playing it, I thought, you know what, a lot of our audience who didn't play a ton of Persona has been exposed to that. What I played, you know, expected departure from it in the terms of, I think, quality of writing. Like, it is definitely a little bit lower than Persona from what I felt, because it's less kind of, Persona's bantery, which I like. Like, you know, it feels like you're watching a bunch of friends really interact. With this game, there's less of that bantery nature and more of just like, it's just long-winded at times. But if you can accept that and you like the elements of Persona, you got something pretty cool here with a really interesting world and lore. And so if you can bite on that and chew on it for a little bit, I think you'll have a lot of fun with Soul Hackers 2. So go ahead, check it out. It's in Game Pass. Give it a download or give it a stream, whichever you prefer.
Yeah. And we fulfill up a promise. Remember, one of the readers was like, yo, the Dukes didn't even talk about it.
I didn't even think of that, but yeah, there we are.
There
we are. It just took us from August till 8 months later.
It takes about a year.
Whatever.
We good.
All right. Pardon me, I just needed a sip. I've been talking forever.
Nah, you good, bro.
Final question of the show goes to the aptly named, because I was talking about sci-fi worlds, Just a Cyber Lad. Salute to Death Trooper Maddie and Ronin Cog. Inspired by Maddie's reading recommendations, I've finished both TMNT The Last Ronin and Star Wars Death Troopers. Both are fantastic. To prepare for Starfield, do either of you have any sci-fi novel recommendations? I think we should expand this, by the way, because he's read comics as well. So we should definitely spread this out. Do you have any that come off the top of your head right now?
Not off top. With sci-fi, I'm so particular, but it's like, yeah, with it's just I'm more of the the movie guy. You know what I'm saying when it comes to sci-fi, as opposed to the sci-fi novel guy, so to speak. Kind of thing. So I don't really have any particular ones off top that I can say, yo, you need to watch this to get you ready, to get your hype going, kind of thing. I don't know. I was probably going to defer to you on this one because I couldn't really think of something specific to get me in that pocket.
No problem.
Well, he got me.
Your bookworm is here. I'm not really a bookworm. I think of Randall Thor when I think of bookworm. That and my mom.
Yes.
My mom is a huge bookworm. She reads constantly.
Nice.
But there's a couple suggestions here. Number one, because you asked for more of a Starfield-oriented pick. These aren't sci-fi, but you might appreciate them anyway because they were books found in the trailer of Starfield. And they are inspirations, Todd said, to the story the game tells. And that if you read them, you can kind of get clues on where the game's going with it. One of them I read a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. It's called Sailing Alone Around the World. So it's about a guy. It's a true story of the first man to ever circle the globe alone on the sea. Obviously speaking to, I think, a bit of the isolation of traveling around in space. I think that's where maybe they pulled inspiration from. That was my read of it. But it's just these kind of traveler's tales, accounts of what he was doing and how he got to his next destination. And it's a pretty cool read. So that was in the trailer, not sci-fi, but again, one of the inspirations for the game. The other I have not read, but I do have on my shelf. It's called Omega, The Last Days of the World. It says in this Amazon description here, I just brought it up. It says, this work has been selected by scholars as being culturally important and is part of the knowledge base of civilization as we know it. This work was reproduced from the original artifact and remains as true as the original works as possible. Therefore, you will see the original copyright references, library stamps, and other notations in the work. So this is a very, very celebrated book, I guess, or something along those lines. It's very different, though. But I have yet to read that. But those are two that have inspired Starfield. Again, Omega, The Last Days of the World, and Sailing Alone Around the World.
Nice.
As for a sci-fi comic recommendation I got for you, I'm just going to double check the name.
We're ready.
It is, let me just make sure. I think I got the name right. It is Descender. It's about an android called TIM-21 who's being hunted down by bounty hunters in this universe that's outlawed robotics and artificial intelligence. And so I read the first issue. I have all 6. It's a short read. You'll notice I kind of like miniseries. I find when the author has limitations and they have to tell a story quick, like what can they do with it? I always found that to be interesting. It also is that sense of completion. Like I know I can finish it and like do my games at the same time. So it's kind of nice. Yes, like right now I'm reading Hell's Paradise as a manga and I'm on volume 10 and it's 13 volumes, which is pretty nice. So I try to keep it short and simple. But Descender is a sci-fi focused comic. And I think that's one that you would like. I always recommend Star Wars stuff. What they're doing with the High Republic, I still think is great. Light of the Jedi, if you haven't read any of the High Republic stuff, Light of the Jedi is a great book. And that's probably the ideal starting point for you. Their comics are great as well. I read some of those. They actually get pretty dark at times, which is nice and surprising. And of course, I would have to recommend, is it Darth Bane? I think it's Darth Bane. Hold on. Let me just double check one last thing. Sorry. It is Darth Bane.
You good.
So Darth Bane The books were written by Drew Karpyshyn, who wrote the Knights of the Old Republic games and Mass Effect as well. So, like, you're getting
Drew. Legend.
getting some high quality shit here. I mean, bro,
what's the name of that joint?
It is called Darth Bane: Path of Destruction. It's a 2-book series, I believe. Darth Bane.
Okay. Yeah.
$8.
Like
$8
and Bane.
Yeah, Bane. Like, the guy Colin imitated a lot. Yeah, so
artwork looks fine. Created Lucas and Drew.
Yeah. It is a Legends book, so it's not like canonical, so to say, but
it's not canon.
But I mean, this is a very gritty. If you're looking for gritty Star Wars, and I'm talking like this dude writes in fine detail how Darth Bane like bites through the tendon of some dude's thumb at one point. If you're kind of looking for that nastiness in a Star Wars book, this is a good one. But those are just some suggestions for you, Cyber Lad, on things you could pick up, try out on both comics and books. I know it may fall in the same pocket, like you just read a Star Wars book, but I will say, as someone who really likes Death Troopers because it's fun, that there is a difference in quality between Death Troopers and Darth Bane. So it should feel pretty new for you. But it's not a bad book. Just like Drew Karpyshyn to me is like on another level. Like, I don't know how he was involved with Anthem. I don't get it, but we'll pretend that doesn't exist. But he's on my interview bucket list. I've talked to him in the past, and he has told me, heads are down right now. They're working away at Archetype. Can't do any interviews right now. It's like, okay, so biding my time.
Oh, you tried? I had tried too.
Biding my time.
I tried way back. He got the dialogue going, but it just didn't work schedule wise. But he's a legend, man. 100%. And also the Mass Effects chops. Oh,
absolutely.
All this gate. Oh, this his resume.
He's the type of dude you hear he's working on a game and you just immediately get a little excited about it.
You're like,
okay, I'm interested.
Like, okay,
that was the reason why heading into Anthem, I actually wasn't. I was a fan of the gameplay and the direction, and I made a video about it. And I remember that video got mass dislike because people were like, "No, it's gonna be great," which is hilarious now. But one of the reasons I was optimistic for it was because of Drew Karpyshyn. I was like, "Oh, at least the story should be good. And if it's good, then that's what matters." So. Man, crazy to see where we have all ended up. But those are some book recommendations, comic recommendations. Nice Defining Duke, Xbox podcast. You know how it goes.
No doubt.
Cog, any closing thoughts on the show, or shall we wrap up?
No, another one, man. I'm trying to think what we're doing with this hashtag.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to label. What's been fun about these last 3 weeks is I know what I'm going to name the show. Like I had the name picked out. The thumbnail was easy to pick out from that. We've seen the benefits of when we have good stuff to talk about, the show does better. This is one of those weeks where I'm like, like Sega. I think Sega is probably going to be the one I lean into a little bit. Because I'm basing it off the thumbnails. I'm like, I have a really good thumbnail idea for the Sega one. So I think we're going to lean into that. So, DD Sega could be very simple, but I feel like we could stash that one for another day.
Yeah, we got. That could be for like a big, let's say the announcement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm trying to think. So you got the mobile aspect, you got the Angry Birds access.
We got Staten at Netflix. DD Stadia Energy. I mean,
that was a funny comment. I remember that. Yeah, that Stadia Energy was. But that's long. Like Stadia Energy, DD.
We could do DD Flix. FLIX.
Okay.
You like that?
We can flip that.
Yeah, I think we go with that.
Or Flix DD, whatever one. Yeah, either one.
We'll do DD Flix. I kind of like that. Sounds like a snack.
I like that. Let's do that.
Sounds like a snack.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, y'all. If you got this deep into the show and you are interested in interacting with us, let us know your thoughts, if I could speak here. On the show, you can tag us on Twitter. I'm at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Use the hashtag DDFlix. Again, can't speak. FLIX. Go ahead, tag us on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. If you don't use social media, no problem. We see you in the comments. We appreciate you. Go ahead, throw it in the YouTube comments. Or hey, even those mobile reviews. We appreciate you for doing those as well. So thank you so much. And Cog, just any final words, or shall I end it?
Another good one of the Dukes. I just want to thank everybody, including yourself.
I don't know what I did, but thank you.
Coming through for ILP 300 is very emotional for us. And I really felt the love. Like sometimes I'm not a person who's good at receiving praise in a weird way. I'm used to always praising others and giving them their flowers.
You're good at that,
yeah. So it was like, even Ryan was like, bro, he's like, Ryan had to check me in the episode. He was like, bro, this is about you. We got like, you're giving me superlatives. He's like, I got to give you your, like that kind of thing.
I said that to you too. You spent like 5 minutes talking about me. I was just waiting. I was like, I thought I was here to talk about you.
It's just, I was just so happy to see everybody. You know what I mean? So I definitely wanted to thank the LSM community because they came outside too, man. I see a lot of names, a lot of people that was in the comments like, yo, I found COG through Duke, you know what I'm saying? And then I found out about ILP kind of energy and stuff like that. So salute to everybody who saluted that moment with me and my brothers. It meant a lot. You have no idea. And yes, I'm still tired from damn near 8 hours.
Yeah.
But it was definitely one of those ones that we definitely ain't gonna do every year. So we knew it was gonna be one of those. So
yeah, man.
Thank you.
Props to you guys for the length of that show too, man. I'm exhausted now. Like, granted, I was editing videos and stuff before this, but man, I'm exhausted now. We've been doing this for 3 hours, 13 minutes. It says on the recording time. Like, 8, y'all weren't even at the halfway point, man. That's crazy. And you had, I got the privilege to sit in, and I appreciate you guys having me on the Redfall conversation. That was awesome. I felt like at first I was like, am I overstaying my welcome? But you guys welcomed me.
I was happy that you wanted to chill.
Yeah,
like,
in my head, I was like, when I saw how long, because I always bring up the stream when you guys are live, and I saw you were live for I think like 6 hours at that time. I was like, maybe they could use the shot in the arm from some guy who hasn't been going the whole time. And the way that like King popped off, the way that Sav got into it, the way you got into it, the way Attic got into it. I mean, you guys are the Energizer bunnies. I mean, you guys were fresh, and I was like, bro, my brain would be on fucking fire. No exaggeration. Like, I don't know if you heard me struggling to complete a sentence earlier, right? Like, that's me after 3 hours. I don't know. We all got our thresholds, but you guys are limitless, man. And congrats on the milestone. Of course, I was happy to be a part of it. I appreciate you letting me to be a small part of that. But hopefully, you saw how much people love you, man. Because obviously, the audience always showers you with love here. But I mean, like, I saw that screenshot they put in the LSMDD chat with the screen. Everyone was there, man. It was a fucking Smash Bros roster. It was insane.
Yeah, bro. It was so cool. Shout out to Cobra Commander. He pulled up. He gave his love to whole so many people. It was. I watched back and got a little emotional. I was like,
I love that for you, bro.
So, yeah, thank you and thank everybody that showed love. It meant a lot because we the little guys punching up.
You guys,
it was good to see.
That's what I said in my, I got my chance to give a little speech, and I said, you guys deserve the numbers, and you always say like, I picked you out, but I was like, bro, like, you earned it. And also, I've always been a believer, like, whenever I picked my ham radio co-host, a lot of people always took issue with it, but I never picked, like, outside of Carrick, I never really picked like a big poppin' YouTuber. I started the show with Lone. He had 1,000 subscribers at the time. I brought my best friend Noah in, didn't have a YouTube presence. I brought Kopi in, didn't have a YouTube presence. I brought Dustin in, who was just running Handsome Phantom at the time and editing stuff for LSM. Like, that's always been my mantra. Always been my mantra to just kind of try to lift people up. And so I just want to make sure I just wanted to give you the attention that I know you deserve. And I'm happy to see you getting it, man. I'm happy to see that the LSM audience has come over and giving you that love in spades. It's awesome to see. It's well-deserved. And just seeing the amount of people showing up was so cool, man.
It was staggering.
I don't think they do that for anyone else, truthfully. I don't think they would. You guys are loved, man. And I'm glad you got to see it.
Very humbled.
So
thank you, man. Thank you. Another
DD in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Appreciate you tuning in again. See? 3 hours, man. That's my threshold.
3 hours right at that mark.
I think my brain starts to see food, and I'm like,
food.
Check out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited. No doubt. You know what? Real quick. Wednesdays are my takeout nights. That's what I've made them. Like,
that's takeout. Yeah,
like I come home and the meal's ready for me. It's so nice. I like that. It's so nice. So I'm thinking about that
right now.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna eat, but I am excited for whatever it's gonna be. So
yes.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. If you want to write in, again, hashtag DDFlix. I'm at G27 status. That is at Lord Cognito. We look forward to hearing from you either on Twitter, in the comments, whatever you choose. And with that, take great care of yourselves, and we will see you on episode 121 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Maddie's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.